Chapter 11:18. Unlucky? Qin Feiyong pursed his lips and sneered. Even when he activated the battle formula, he didn't dare to say that he had an immortal body. What was a mere battle formula? However, he wanted to test just how strong his invincible Vajra body was. Clang! With a wave of his hand, crimson sword chi surged. 40 streaks of sword chi instantly appeared and slashed toward Niezhan with monstrous sharpness. Niezhan looked contemptuous. He didn't even fight back and let the sword shadow slash down. "You're so confident?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. Clang! The first sword shadow slashed toward him. However, when it slashed Niezhan's body, there was an ear-piercing sound of metal. It gave people the feeling that Niezhan's body was made of divine iron. Moreover, the sword shadow didn't cause any harm to him. It didn't even break his skin. "That's a bit powerful," Qin Feiyong murmured. Although there was a big gap between him and Niezhan in terms of cultivation, the Guiyuan sword technique was a perfect battle formula. If it was someone else like Niezhan who didn't move or fight back, he would have been slashed in half. However, he didn't even hurt Niezhan. This showed that the Vajra body was indeed extraordinary. According to his estimation, it should be 1/10 of the power of the battle formula. Clang! The second, the third, the fourth. The sword shadows kept slashing Niezhan's body. The sharpness swept in all directions. However, just like before, it didn't pose any threat to Niezhan. The disdain in Niezhan's eyes grew. Boom! Gradually, he lost his patience. He punched out and shattered all the remaining sword shadows in an instant. "Did you see that? This is the gap between you and me. Although you have a divine formula, facing an overwhelming cultivation, you will die no matter how strong you are. Be prepared." Niezhan let out a wild laugh. With a surging aura, he rushed into the clouds and charged towards Qin Feiyong. "You're going to be arrogant?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. He was just testing. Did Niezhan really think that he couldn't break this bullshit battle formula? Killing intent flashed in his eyes. Boom! But at this moment, several terrifying monarch auras approached from the distance. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. He turned around and saw several figures rushing toward them. There were more than 30 people in total. There were men and women, old and young. Without exception, they were all battle emperors. So many combat emperors have come down at once. They really think highly of me, Qin Feiyong muttered. He turned around and looked at Niezhan. "Time to send you on your way." Arrogant! Niezhan was furious. Qin Feiyong opened a portal inside. "I really don't know what's in your head. Can't you see that I'm just playing with you?" After saying that, Qin Feiyong then entered the teleportation gate without looking back. For fun? Niezhan was stunned, and then he went crazy. One had to know. He was fighting with all his might, but his opponent was just playing around? The most excessive thing was that he actually opened a portal right in front of him. What kind of contempt was this? He didn't put him in his eyes at all. When had he ever been humiliated like this? "Don't even think about escaping." Niezhan was furious. Like a crazy beast, he rushed toward the portal. Clang! However, at the same time, the statue above suddenly swooped down like an emperor descending to the world and slashed at Niezhan. Niezhan suddenly raised his head, his pupils constricting. He hadn't noticed it before. But at this moment, facing the statue and the broken sword at such a close distance, he realized how small he was. That terrifying monarch aura, that shocking divine might, made him unable to summon the slightest bit of courage to fight. He could only watch as the broken sword fell. He even forgot to run away. "Who can save me?" He was scared and crazily shouted in his heart. No! The broken sword was getting closer and closer. His heart was completely drowned in despair. Ah! The moment the broken sword descended on his head, he couldn't help but scream in horror. But at the same time, a white-haired old man rushed out from the crowd below. It was Li He. He landed in front of Niezhan like lightning. He immediately raised his arm and slapped the combat sword. With a loud bang, the combat sword instantly collapsed. The statue also broke into pieces and soon dissipated. "Don't kill me! Save me!" Niezhan was still screaming. Li He was right in front of him, but he didn't notice at all. It could be seen how terrified he was at this moment. Looking at Niezhan's current appearance, Li He raised his eyebrows and shouted, "Wake up!" His voice was like a bell, and it entered Nie Zhan's ears. Nie Zhan immediately came to his senses. He quickly glanced around and murmured, "I'm still alive?" Li He nodded. "I'm still alive," Nie Zhan murmured to himself. He collapsed in the void, and the fear in his eyes couldn't disappear. Whoosh! The more than 30 people who were ordered to kill Qin Feiyang also landed in front of Li He at this moment. "It seems that we're late." Scanning the void, one of the old men in black said in a deep voice. A middle-aged woman next to him looked at Li He and frowned. "You clearly had the chance to stop Qin Feiyang. Why didn't you do it? He has the ancient castle in his hands. Can I stop him? Moreover, there is also a war emperor hidden in his ancient castle." Li He shook his head. He was talking about Yan Wei. Of course, he also had a little selfishness. Hearing it, the middle-aged woman fell silent. Indeed, as long as the ancient castle was there, no matter how many people came, they would definitely not be able to stop Qin Feiyang. Following that, everyone looked at Nie Zhan with a hint of shock in their eyes. Even the king of the main pagoda Holy Land was no match for this kid. Wasn't this too ridiculous? If he was given time to continue to grow. Thinking of this, the group of people couldn't help but shiver. They didn't dare to think about it anymore. The middle-aged woman said, "Nie Xiaoyong, quickly bring your big brother back." Yes. Nie Xiaoyong, who was not far away, quickly flew over and opened the portal. He supported Nie Zhan and walked in. He was also scared out of his wits previously. If he had known that Qin Feiyang was so powerful, he wouldn't have come even if he was beaten to death. Sigh. This matter has dealt a big blow to Nie Zhan. Yes, he came full of confidence, but in the end, he was suppressed by a 4-star battle saint. If his willpower isn't strong enough, I'm afraid his mental state will collapse. Everyone sighed. The old man in black looked at Li He and asked, "Just now, you fought with a divine statue head-on. How do you feel about its power?" Li He said, "It's very powerful. If Qin Feiyang has the cultivation level of a war emperor, I'm afraid that all of us together may not be his match." Everyone's pupils contracted. Black Cloud Valley. Qin Feiyang stood at the edge of a cliff. He lowered his head and didn't say a word. Who exactly were the 3 divine powers that suddenly appeared in the divine city? Bas. Suddenly, there was a sound from the image crystal. "Why are you thinking so much? It has nothing to do with me. The most important thing now is to quickly find the mysterious madam and rescue Yan Wei's clansmen." Qin Feiyang shook his head and took out the image crystal. Bas. An illusory figure appeared. It was Mu Qing. Powerful. However, at this moment, Mu Qing's face was rather gloomy. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "No matter how powerful I am, I'm not as powerful as you." "You can still smile? Let me tell you, you must give me the divine crystal." Mu Qing said. "You also know about the divine crystal?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. Mu Qing said, "Nonsense, even you know about it. How can I not know about it? Tell me, where are you now?" "I can't tell you." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Mu Qing shouted, "Don't go too far." "How am I going too far?" Qin Feiyang said faintly. "In order to snatch the divine crystal, not only did you use us to sneak into the tower, but you also betrayed my second grandpa. Tell me, how do you want to settle this score?" Mu Qing's face was extremely gloomy. "Don't make it sound like you're good people. Didn't you also use me to snatch the heavenly flame? As for your second grandpa, I didn't betray him at all. It was the chief tower master who made the connection." Qin Feiyang smiled. Mu Qing said in a deep voice, "Even so, it has something to do with you." "Then what do you want?" Qin Feiyang said. Mu Qing said, "You must give the divine crystal to the Mu family. There is no room for negotiation." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he asked curiously, "Then tell me, what is the use of the divine crystal? If it wasn't so important, maybe I would have given it to you. Do you think I'm stupid?" Mu Qing sneered. "Then there's no other way. Also, don't be too shameless. When the Mu family used me to snatch the heavenly flame, did I say anything? You didn't. But now, I snatched the divine crystal with my own ability, but you're being aggressive here. To be honest, I have never seen anyone more shameless than the Mu family. Qin Feiyang said in disgust. Mu Qing clenched his fists, making a cracking sound. Go and tell those shameless old bastards in your family that I don't have the divine crystal, but I do have a life. If they have the ability, come and take it. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he directly turned off the image crystal. This family was truly becoming more and more disgusting. Boom. However, before Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal, two terrifying auras suddenly appeared in the sky. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He quickly looked up and his face immediately changed color. He saw three figures standing side by side in the void above. Two were old men and one was a young man in purple. The three of them all looked gloomy. The young man in purple sneered. Do you think I can't find you if you don't tell me? That's right. This person was Mu Qing. The two old men were also Qin Feiyang's old acquaintances. The Mu family's great ancestor and second ancestor. And as soon as they appeared, the great ancestor of the Mu family released his pressure and firmly imprisoned Qin Feiyang. How do you know? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He suddenly patted his head and scolded himself for being stupid. He actually ignored Mu Qing's all-seeing eye. Mu Qing said, It seems that you remember. Then I won't explain more. Give me the divine crystal. No. Qin Feiyang said. You're really stubborn. A cold light flashed in Mu Qing's eyes. He fell in front of Qin Feiyang and directly grabbed Qin Feiyang's Xueqi bag. Imprisoned by the pressure of the great ancestor of the Mu family, Qin Feiyang couldn't enter the castle. He could only watch Mu Qing do whatever he wanted. No. Mu Qing searched for a while and suddenly frowned. Qin Feiyang said sarcastically, Do you have any brains? Why would I put such an important thing in my Xueqi bag? Tell me, where is it? Chapter 11:19. Qin Feiyang narrowed his eyes and looked at Mu Qing. He didn't expect this guy to care so much about the divine crystals. He glanced at the Mu family's great ancestor and second ancestor, and found that their eyes were also full of desire. It can't really be some divine item, right? Qin Feiyang muttered secretly. Say it! Mu Qing shouted. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he said with a faint smile, I've already given it to Miss Longfeng. Mu Qing was stunned and frowned. Why did you give it to her? Isn't the Mu family very powerful? Don't you know that she's someone planted in the central divine kingdom by the mysterious lady? Qin Feiyang sneered. What? Mu Qing and the other two were shocked. Mu Qing said in a deep voice. So, you snatched the divine crystals under the instructions of that mysterious lady? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. I don't understand. Why did you, who have always been arrogant, listen to her? Mu Qing frowned. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, Do you still remember the Sky Tiger tribe? Of course I remember. The Yanwei beside you is the leader of the Sky Tiger tribe. Back then, Demon Child died in the hands of the mysterious lady in the Sky Tiger tribe. Mu Qing said, her eyes full of hatred. Back then, after the mysterious lady killed Demon Child, she used Yanwei's clansmen to threaten me and let me enter the main tower to snatch the divine crystals. At that time, I was still troubled by how to enter the central divine kingdom. After all, at that time, the teleportation altar was guarded by people from the main tower. It was almost impossible to fool them. And through the endless sea, I could enter the central divine kingdom, but with my ability, it was impossible to cross the endless sea. But at that time, you found me and asked me to help you snatch the heavenly dipper flame. Coincidentally, I beat you at your own game and agreed to help you. But at that time, I didn't know that the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was involved with the mysterious madam. Qin Feiyang said. I see. Mu Qing came to a realization. She shook her head and said, But I still don't believe that you have already given the divine crystals to Miss Longfeng. Because I know you too well. With your cautiousness, before you see Yanwei's fellows, you will never hand over the divine crystals. Qin Feiyang was stunned. How did this guy know him so well? I was right. I know that it's impossible to force you to hand over the divine crystals. How about this? Let's make an exchange. Give me the divine crystal, and I will help you save Yanwei's clansmen. Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang looked at him, his eyes flickering. With the Mu family's ability, Rescuing Yan Wei's clansmen is indeed a very easy task. But if he did that, it would be tantamount to completely falling out with the mysterious lady. The most important thing is that Mu Qing's words cannot be trusted. Seeing that Qin Feiyong did not speak, Mu Qing raised her eyebrows, gritted her teeth and said, "If this is not enough, I can add another bargaining chip, the Fire Qilin." Fire Qilin. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled. One must know. The Fire Qilin is a real divine beast. Its future strength is immeasurable. But now, Mu Qing is actually willing to give the Fire Qilin to him for the divine crystals? Obviously, in Mu Qing's eyes, the value of the Fire Qilin is not even comparable to the divine crystals. Just how important was this divine crystal? Mu Qing said again, "Even now, I can get someone to bring the Fire Qilin to you." Qin Feiyong was tempted. The Fire Qilin has always been a knot in his heart. If he can really use the divine crystals to exchange for the freedom of the Fire Qilin and Yan Wei's clansmen, then he can agree to Mu Qing. However, he really doesn't dare to trust Mu Qing easily. If she plays any tricks, he will lose everything. I can't take the risk. In the end, he still decided to find the mysterious madam in person. As for the Fire Qilin, the Mu family will certainly not hurt it, and he will slowly find a way to rescue it later. But on the surface, he still had a hesitant look. Because he hasn't thought of a way to get away. Mu Qing said impatiently, "You will only gain and not lose in this deal. What is there to hesitate about?" Qin Feiyong said, "How do I know you are not lying to me?" "I swear." Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyong sneered, "Swear is a joke, only an idiot will believe it." "Then what? Will you believe it?" Mu Qing frowned. "I don't know." Qin Feiyong shook his head. For a time, the situation was in a deadlock. The second Mu clan's ancestor said coldly, "Qing don't talk nonsense with him, take him back first, and then I have a way to make him hand over the divine crystals." "Wait," Qin Feiyong hurriedly said. Although he had always wanted to know where the Mu clan's lair was, he knew that once he stepped into the Mu clan's lair, it was equivalent to entering a tiger's den. It was almost impossible for him to escape. "Have you thought it through?" Looking at the timid look on Qin Feiyong's face, Mu Qing sneered. "Well, I will give it to you. Let go of your claws and return the Qiankuan bag to me. I will go to the castle to get the divine crystals." Qin Feiyong said helplessly. Mu Qing let go of Qin Feiyong and stuffed the Qiankuan bag into Qin Feiyong's hand, saying, "I am worried about you going to the castle, we must go with you." Qin Feiyong said, "As long as you don't fool me, I will do anything." Mu Qing smiled, "Don't worry, I will give you the Fire Qilin and help you rescue Yan Wei's clansmen." Qin Feiyong sighed, "Then I will reluctantly believe you this time." Mu Qing's face darkened. "What do you mean reluctantly? Am I so untrustworthy?" Qin Feiyong glanced at the Mu clan's ancestor, frowning. "Why don't you put away your tortoise's prestige?" The Mu clan's ancestor was so angry that his beard was blowing. "Tortoise's prestige? Isn't this the same as calling him an old tortoise in disguise?" The second Mu clan's ancestor advised, "Big brother, bear with it, he is such a person." "Yes, I am such a person, but I am still better than you. 2,000-year-old tortoises. Why don't you just die?" Qin Feiyong said lightly. The two immediately gritted their teeth, their veins bulging. This was simply a test of their patience. "Hurry up. If you don't put away your tortoise's prestige, how can I go to the castle?" Qin Feiyong's face was full of impatience. The Mu clan's ancestor held back his anger, stepped forward and grabbed Qin Feiyong's shoulder. Only then did he put away his coercion. He did this because he was afraid that Qin Feiyong would take the opportunity to slip into the castle alone. Because there is no coercion, they can't stop him at all. "You are really careful." Qin Feiyong was a little annoyed. He was indeed planning to quickly hide in the castle while the Mu clan's ancestor put away his coercion. In this way, although he will be trapped here, the Mu clan can't do anything to him. But now, caught by the Mu clan's ancestor, he can only obediently take the three to the castle. The Mu clan's ancestor said, "What are you doing? You don't want to play tricks, do you? Do you think I am like you? Shameless old man." Qin Feiyong coldly snorted. The Mu clan's ancestor began to blow his beard and stare again. "One moment old bastard, the next moment old man. Do you still put him in your eyes?" It seems that we can only enter the castle first and then think of a way. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and with a slight thought, the four immediately disappeared without a trace. Inside the castle, Fatso and the others could hear the words outside, so before Qin Feiyang took Mu Qing and the other two in, they were already prepared. After all, the Mu clan's ancestor and second ancestor are both old monsters of the 9-star War Emperor, so they had to be careful. So many people? At the same time. Looking at the vigilant faces of Fatso and the others, the Mu clan's ancestor and second ancestor were quite surprised. However, the Mu clan's ancestor firmly grasped Qin Feiyang's shoulder, not giving him any chance. And, aren't you Viper and Dan Wang Kai of the Qinghai 10 heroes? Why are you here? Suddenly, Mu Qing looked at Viper and the other two and asked in surprise. But the two did not answer and were very vigilant. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly, turned his head and glanced at the Mu clan's ancestor, frowned and said, "Old man, since we've already come in, can you let go of your dog's paw first?" Dog's paw? The Mu clan's ancestor suddenly burned with anger and roared, "Boy, if you dare to speak rudely again, be careful that I'll cripple you." "It doesn't matter, I don't lack spirit sea pills anyway." Qin Feiyang shrugged his shoulders. Looking at Qin Feiyang's look of a dead pig not afraid of boiling water, the Mu clan's ancestor was about to flip out on the spot. The Mu clan's second ancestor hurriedly said, "Big brother, calm down, he's deliberately angering you so that you can let go of him." After that, he looked at Qin Feiyang and sneered, "Boy, we know more about space divine objects than you, so the little calculation in your heart is useless." Qin Feiyang's heart trembled and said calmly, "I'm such an honest person, what little calculation can I have?" "You're honest?" The Mu clan's second ancestor was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. How can there be such a shameless person in the world? In the space divine object, the owner of the object can ignore the other's cultivation and directly throw them out. That's what you're thinking. Deliberately angering the ancestor, and when he lets go of your shoulder, you'll immediately send us out. Mu Qing faintly glanced at Qin Feiyang and said, "You really know?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows without a trace. "Hurry up, don't waste everyone's time." Mu Qing waved her hand, looking very impatient. Qin Feiyang sighed and walked towards the altar, standing in front of the iron box. Mu Qing glanced at the iron box and asked, "Is the divine crystal in here?" Qin Feiyang nodded and cut his finger. A drop of purple gold dragon blood overflowed and dripped on the iron box. Crack! The iron box immediately glowed with a layer of hazy light, producing a harsh crisp sound. This, Mu Qing and the other two were dumbfounded. It actually needed Qin Feiyang's blood to open this iron box? Could it be some kind of treasure? Just as the three of them stared at the iron box and fantasized, Qin Feiyang raised his arm and opened the lid of the box. The divine crystal immediately came into view. It's really the divine crystal. Mu Qing and the other two's eyes immediately moved to the divine crystal, and the excitement on their faces could not be concealed. "Qing, hurry up!" The Mu clan's ancestor shouted, breathing rapidly. Mu Qing suddenly quivered and came back to her senses. She immediately grabbed the divine crystal. When Mu Qing took the divine crystal, the 3 words on the iron book immediately came into sight. 6 words divine formula. The 3 of them looked at the iron book in surprise and doubt. Qin Feiyang glanced at the 3's expressions and knew that the opportunity had come. Looking at the 6 words divine formula, he asked, "Do you know what this is?" "What?" Chapter 11:20. There are 6 types of divine arts here, and I have already mastered 3 of them. The first one is the return technique. It has the ability to give you a taste of your own medicine. You have all seen it before. The second one is the battle technique. The battle technique is stronger than the return technique. Not only can it allow me to have an immortal body, it can also dissolve half of my opponent's attack power. You have also seen it before. And the third one is called the kill technique. The kill technique is even more heaven-defying than the return and battle techniques, because it can increase one's cultivation by an entire realm by absorbing the blood of living creatures. Qin Feiyang said truthfully. Every time he said one, the shock in Mu Qing and the other two's hearts grew stronger. When they heard the kill technique, the 3's bodies and minds trembled, and their minds rumbled. Increase by an entire realm. What kind of joke was this? How was this possible? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a hint of craftiness and said, "Didn't you always want to know how Pei Qin and the others died in Qinghai?" The three nodded. The chief pagoda master and the others didn't know, but they were very clear that Qin Feiyang didn't have a big brother called Old Ancestor Mu. So when they heard that the one who killed Pei Qin and the others was Qin Feiyang's big brother, they didn't believe it at all. And the Mu family once again entered the chief pagoda with the identity of Qin Day to investigate this matter. Qin Feiyang said, "I will tell you now. At that time, I activated the kill technique and increased my cultivation to a 3-star combat emperor." Boom. The three's eyes were filled with shock as if they were struck by lightning. So it was like this. Kill technique. Increase by an entire realm. How heaven-defying was this? Immediately, the three's faces were filled with greed. Qin Feiyang could even feel that the Mu family's ancestor's arm was trembling, and there was an obvious loosening. Nah. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. Both of his hands were raised at the same time. His right hand slapped away the Mu family's ancestor's hand that was grabbing his shoulder, while his left hand snatched the divine crystal from Mu Qing's hand like lightning. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Mu Qing and the other two also came back to their senses. But it was too late. "Let's meet again if fate allows it." Qin Feiyang grinned and threw the three of them out. "Damn it! Qin Feiyang, how dare you trick me? I won't let you off." The angry roars of Mu Qing and the other two immediately came from outside. "That was close." Fatso patted his chest, his face full of fear. "Yeah, they almost got away with it." Qin Feiyang nodded and couldn't help but let out a long sigh. However, what followed next was a huge problem. Mu Qing knew that there was a loophole in the castle. She would definitely guard outside. Lu Hong pondered for a while and said, "Now we can only inform Miss Longfeng and ask her to come and save us." "That's the only way," Qin Feiyang said. Although he had some conflicts with Miss Longfeng not long ago, the divine crystal was in his hands. This woman would not leave him in the lurch. Qin Feiyang once again put the divine crystal into the iron box, closed the lid, and took out the image crystal. "Qin Feiyang, what you're doing is meaningless. You'd better be wise and give us the divine crystal. Otherwise, you'll never be able to get out of the castle." At this time, Mu Qing's voice came in. It was obvious that he had calmed down. "This guy is really self-righteous." Fatso sneered. Lu Hong laughed. "But it's undeniable that he has the capital to be self-righteous." Viper and Dan Wangkai looked at the two of them, then looked at Qin Feiyang. Dan Wangkai said, "Young master, can you reveal how many enemies you have like the Mu clan and the main tower?" Wolf King raised his head and glanced at the two of them, teasing, "What? Are you afraid?" The two of them did not deny it. It was not that they were timid, but because Qin Feiyang's enemies were too terrifying. Any one of them was enough to make them die without a burial ground. But there was nothing they could do. They had already boarded the pirate ship, and it was impossible for them to continue. Therefore they wanted to know how many more enemies he had, so that they could be mentally prepared. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then looked at the two of them and laughed. "To me, the Mu clan and the main tower do not have much enmity. My true enemy is on another continent, and their strength is not inferior to the main tower and the Mu clan. There really are more." Viper and Mu Qing looked at each other, their faces filled with helplessness. It seemed that the days ahead would be even more difficult than now. Bas. At this time, the shadow of the young lady of the Longfeng house finally appeared, but it was an old woman with white hair. Looking at the current appearance of the young lady of the Longfeng house, Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned. Haha. In the next moment, Fatso and the others laughed out loud. Wolf King and the other beasts were even more exaggerated as they rolled on the ground laughing. Seeing this, the young lady of the Longfeng house's face was pitch black, and the veins on her forehead were popping out. It was obvious that she was about to go crazy. Cough cough. Qin Feiyang's face was also red from holding it in. He coughed dryly and asked with a smile, "Are you all right?" "Aren't you asking the obvious?" The young lady of the Longfeng house said in a low voice as she looked at Qin Feiyang, her eyes filled with resentment. Qin Feiyang said, "Then where's your teacher?" Through the image, one could see that the young lady of the Longfeng house was standing on top of a mountain. It was obvious that she had already escaped from the divine city. But beside her, there was no black shadow. I don't know either. It was too chaotic at that time, so I left first. But I reckon that teacher must have encountered big trouble. The young lady of the Longfeng house said, her face full of worry. Qin Feiyong said, I've also encountered big trouble. The young lady of the Longfeng house was surprised. Qin Feiyong said, I was found by the Mu clan. You deserve it. The young lady of the Longfeng house sneered. It was obvious that she was still holding a grudge about what happened not long ago. Deserve it? Qin Feiyong frowned and said indifferently, don't be in a hurry to gloat. The Mu clan is looking for me to ask for divine crystals. What? The young lady of the Longfeng house's expression changed, and she hurriedly said, then did you give it to them? Not yet, but if I can't escape, then I can only compromise. In other words, if she didn't help, he would definitely give the divine crystals to the Mu clan. The young lady of the Longfeng house was also a smart person, so she naturally understood the meaning of this sentence. She didn't dare to argue so much and asked, where are you now? Black Cloud Valley. Qin Feiyong said. All right, be careful over there. I'll think of a way to save you immediately. After the young lady of the Longfeng house finished speaking, she hurriedly closed the image crystal. Yan Wei smiled and said, fortunately, we didn't give her the divine crystals when we were at the Longfeng house. Otherwise, she would definitely ignore us now. Now, let's wait for the news. With the mysterious madam, even the Mu clan can't keep us. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly, then sat cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes to meditate. Outside. As expected, Mu Qing and the Mu clan's great ancestor didn't leave. Time passed little by little. Early morning. The sun rose slowly, dispelling the chill of the night. The Mu clan's second ancestor looked at the rising sun in the sky and said to the two Mu clan's great ancestors, guarding like this is not a long-term solution. We must think of a way to lure him out. It's useless. Once this bastard is determined, nothing can make him come out. And now I'm very worried. Mu Qing secretly said. What are you worried about? The Mu clan's great ancestor looked at him suspiciously. I'm worried about the mysterious madam. With Qin Feiyong's character, he definitely won't sit still and wait for death. He will definitely find a way to escape. And in the Forgotten Continent, he can only rely on the mysterious madam. What's more, Qin Feiyong snatching the divine crystal was originally instructed by her. She won't sit back and watch. Mu Qing said in a deep voice. Hearing this, the Mu clan's great ancestor and great ancestor's hearts sank. Mu Qing's words reminded them of the situation when they went to the great Qin Empire to rescue Qin Feiyong. At that time, the mysterious madam brought a fake god with her. A fake god. Even the Mu clan didn't dare to take it lightly. And this woman's strength was also very strong. If she really came to rescue Qin Feiyong, then they really couldn't stop her. Mu Qing suddenly seemed to think of something, turned to look at the great ancestor, and said, how about we ask that old man to come out? No. The great ancestor and great ancestor were shocked and refused without hesitation. Why? Mu Qing frowned. The Mu clan's great ancestor said, if the old ancestor comes out, together with Yiglao, we will have two fake gods. We will definitely be able to easily take down the mysterious madam and Qin Feiyong. But now, the old ancestor is at a critical moment in his closed-door cultivation and can't be disturbed. I know. The old ancestor is only one step away from stepping into the real war god realm. But you also know the importance of the divine crystal. It must not fall into the hands of others. Moreover, the biggest reason why our Mu clan has never dared to fall out with the main tower is because of the divine crystal. And now the opportunity is in front of us. How can we miss it? Mu Qing frowned. The great ancestor and great ancestor were silent. Two great ancestors. I understand. If we let the old ancestor come out now, it is very likely that his years of hard work will be wasted. But as long as we can get the divine crystal, we don't have to fear the main tower anymore. If you are willing, we can even rely on the divine crystal to rule this continent. Moreover, we can also kill our way back to the great Qin Empire in advance and make them pay with blood. Mu Qing transmitted his voice, his eyes full of killing intent. Kill our way back to the great Qin Empire. The Mu clan's great ancestor and great ancestor's eyes trembled, and they seemed to be quite excited. Okay. A moment later. The Mu clan's great ancestor nodded and said to himself, I'll go back and discuss this matter with Yigleo now. You guys be careful. Mu Qing was overjoyed and transmitted his voice. There will be changes if we delay, we must be fast. Okay. The Mu clan's great ancestor responded, turned around, opened the portal, and walked in quickly. Qin Feiyang. Do you think the foundation of my Mu clan is only like this? You're too naive, you'll regret it soon. Mu Qing looked up at the sun in the sky and muttered to himself, his face full of ridicule. The Mu clan's second ancestor next to him also had a face full of disdain and coldness. At the same time, on the other side, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion had already recovered her true appearance, but she was wearing a veil, looking exceptionally mysterious. And at this moment, she was holding an image crystal in her hand. The image crystal emitted a hazy light, and her eyes were constantly flickering. Bas! Suddenly, the image crystal trembled violently, and a phantom image quickly emerged. It was a woman wearing a gorgeous long dress. Her long black hair was tied up high, looking graceful and luxurious. Time did not leave any traces on her face. Her aura was even more unfathomable. That's right. Chapter 1121. Rua Shuang. Looking at the young lady, the mysterious lady's face was full of doting. Greetings, mother. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house bowed. If Qin Feiyang was here, he would be dumbfounded. This young lady was actually the daughter of the mysterious lady. The mysterious lady nodded and asked with a smile, What's the matter? The young lady nodded and said, Qin Feiyang has succeeded. The mysterious lady's spirit was lifted. The young lady said with melancholy, But now we are all in trouble. What trouble? The mysterious lady's face sank slightly. The young lady said, Teacher's identity has been exposed, and his life and death are unknown. Qin Feiyang is also trapped in Black Cloud Valley by the Mu family. What? The mysterious lady's body trembled and said in surprise, How did he expose his identity? Because of the Chief Tower Master. This person's shrewdness is too terrifying. All these years, he has been disguising himself as Pang Su and lurking around me to monitor me. The young lady said with hatred. What about Pang Su himself? The mysterious lady said. He was killed by them long ago. The young lady said. The mysterious lady was shocked and hurriedly said, Then all these years have you? No. Although the staff of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion are all my confidants, I have always been very cautious. I have never mentioned our matter to them, let alone your identity. The young lady said. The mysterious lady heaved a sigh of relief and asked, Qin Feiyang is trapped in Black Cloud Valley by the Mu family. So, the Mu family is also after the divine crystal? Yes. The young lady nodded. They actually want to get their hands on the divine crystal. The mysterious lady's face was full of disgust, and then said, Don't be impulsive, I will think of a way to save Qin Feiyang. The young lady said, You have to be fast, after all, the Mu family has more than one fake god Yigleo. The mysterious lady nodded, and then the shadow quickly dissipated. Black Cloud Valley. Swish. About half an hour passed. 3 figures silently descended in the sky above the valley. One of them was the Mu family's great ancestor. The other 2. The person on the left was wearing a pitch-black robe and a hat that covered his entire body. On his face, there was also a mask that covered his entire face. Only his eyes were exposed. His eyes were like those of an eagle, emitting a sharp light. That was right. He was Yigleo. The person on the right was wearing a snow-white robe. His body was stooped, and his hair was white. He also wore a mask on his face, hiding his true appearance. However, the aura he exuded was even stronger than Yigleo's. Greetings to the 2 ancestors. Mu Qing and the second ancestor of the Mu family hurriedly bowed. Yes. Yigleo nodded and asked, Where is Qin Feiyang now? The white-robed old man stood to the side without saying a word, giving off a profound feeling. It's right below here. Mu Qing pointed at the valley below. Yigleo looked down at the valley and said indifferently, Qin Feiyang, come out. Yes. Inside the castle. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and said in a deep voice, Even Yigleo is here. It seems that they are determined to get it. This is enough to show that the divine crystal is indeed not an ordinary thing. Fatso's eyes were shining. Not only did the main tower regard it as a treasure, but even the Mu family and the mysterious lady were so eager for it. What was the use of this divine crystal? What should we do? Lu Hong was slightly flustered. The arrival of a fake god was not a trivial matter. Don't worry. I believe that the mysterious lady will be here soon, Qin Feiyong said. Outside. Seeing that Qin Feiyong did not appear for a long time, Yigleo's eyes gradually revealed a ray of cold light. The white-robed old man next to him suddenly said, "Oldie, let's directly use our divine sense to forcibly break his castle." Okay. Yigleo nodded. Boom. Immediately, two invisible forces swept out from the top of their heads and rushed into the valley below. Divine sense was formed by a person's will. It was invisible and colorless, but it had the power to penetrate everything. Moreover, no matter how small the thing was, it could be clearly captured with divine sense. It was not an exaggeration to say that even a speck of dust could not escape. Although divine sense was heaven-defying, not everyone had it. Only those who had stepped into the fake god realm could condense divine sense. The two used their divine sense to constantly search the valley. Found it. Suddenly, Yigleo and the white-robed old man's eyes flashed a ray of light at the same time. Somewhere on the ground in the valley, they caught an unusual speck of dust. This speck of dust was formed by the castle. The two immediately controlled their divine sense and madly rushed towards the castle. Rumble! The castle immediately began to shake violently. What's going on? Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyong and the others turned pale with fright. This was the first time such a situation had happened. Viper said worriedly, "They won't have a way to enter the castle, right?" Heard of it. Everyone's hearts suddenly sank. Don't panic. I don't think the castle can be broken so easily, Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. The castle had been shaking, producing a deafening roar. And outside, although it was impossible to see the expressions of Yigleo and the white-robed old man, the eyes of the two became a little dignified. If one looked carefully, they would even find that there were some beads of sweat on their temples. A moment passed. The two suddenly withdrew their divine sense, their eyes full of surprise. What's wrong? The Mu clan's great ancestor asked. Yigleo said, "We can't break the castle." What? Mu Qing and the other two looked at each other. Two quasi-divinities working together were actually unable to break through this ancient castle. Just what level was this ancient castle? Yigleo sighed. It should be that our divine sense is not strong enough. After all, we are only fake gods. Then what should we do now? Mu Qing seemed to be at a loss. No hurry. He must be pinning his hopes on the mysterious madam now. As long as we can kill the mysterious madam, his hopes will naturally be dashed. When that time comes, he will naturally compromise with us. Yigleo pondered for a moment and said, "That makes sense." Mu Qing nodded. Yigleo turned to look at the white-robed old man and said, "Let's go down and hide first. When the mysterious madam appears, we will immediately kill her with lightning speed." The white-robed old man nodded. Whoosh! The two immediately swooped down and disappeared into the forest. With the two ancestors here, there will definitely be no mistakes, Mu Qing said with a smile. The two ancestors of the Mu family were also full of smiles. Time passed breath by breath. Suddenly, a man and a woman landed in the sky above Black Cloud Valley. The woman was the mysterious madam. The man was more than 1.9 meters tall, middle-aged, with shoulder-length hair. His facial features were regular, and he wore a snow-white robe that was spotless. His whole body exuded an extremely powerful aura. His eyes were especially special, as if they were condensed from ice, crystal clear, and flashing with a ray of divine light. That's right. He was the fake god who went with the mysterious madam to the great Qin Empire to rescue Qin Feiyong. They're here. Sensing the two people's aura, Mu Qing and the other two looked up at the mysterious madam and the middle-aged man in unison. We meet again. The mysterious madam glanced at the three people, and a piercing cold light flashed in her eyes. Mu Qing said, "Yes, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road." The mysterious madam raised her eyebrows and said, "Who are you to talk to me?" Out of nowhere, a powerful oppressive force rushed towards Mu Qing. Then do we have the right to talk to you? The two ancestors of the Mu family stepped in front of Mu Qing, blocking the pressure of the mysterious madam. Their eyes flashed with killing intent. The mysterious madam smiled coldly and looked around. She said in surprise, "Just the three of you? What? Do you still want to kill us? The Mu family will not be afraid of you." The second ancestor of the Mu family said, "I admit that the Mu family is very strong, but if it's just the three of you, then I can kill you now." The mysterious madam said coldly. As soon as her voice fell, the middle-aged man next to her immediately released his divine power and rushed toward Mu Qing and the other two. Mu Qing and the other two sneered. The mysterious madam raised her eyebrows. Facing the divine power of a fake god, they dared to be so fearless? Could it be? All of a sudden, a thought crawled up in her mind, and she quickly lowered her head and scanned the surrounding mountains and rivers. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." At the same time, accompanied by a cold shout, Yigleo and the middle-aged man rushed into the sky like lightning. Yigleo went straight to the mysterious madam. The white-robed old man also used thunderous methods to kill the middle-aged man. "There's an ambush." The mysterious madam's face darkened. Looking at the white-robed old man, she sneered, "I didn't expect even you to come out of seclusion. It seems that the Mu family cares a lot about divine crystals." The white-robed old man glanced at her, but did not speak. His eyes were as cold as a blade, and he slapped the middle-aged man. His palm was shining with divine light. That was not battle chi. It was divine power. To be exact, it was the power of a fake god. Battle chi and the power of a fake god were not on the same level at all. It was like an ant and an elephant. Just as the white-robed old man's power of a fake god emerged, in an instant, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Screams were everywhere, as if doomsday had arrived. So strong. Mu Qing's pupils contracted. In front of a fake god, a battle sage like them could kill them countless times with just a breath. Humph. At the same time, the middle-aged man snorted from his nose and did not retreat. He raised his arm and punched out. Seeing this, the two ancestors of the Mu family quickly took Mu Qing and retreated. Although they were only one step away from becoming a fake god, this step was like a natural moat that could not be crossed. It was not an exaggeration to say that a fake god could kill a 9-star battle emperor in a snap of his fingers, so they did not dare to get too close. In an instant, a fist and a palm collided. A destructive divine power storm rose out of the ground, with the middle-aged man and the white-robed old man as the center, roaring in all directions. Wherever it went, the earth cracked crazily and the void distorted violently, as if it had reached the critical point of shattering. In just the blink of an eye, the land within a radius of dozens of miles was completely razed to the ground. The cracks were so deep that they could not see the bottom. Chapter 1122. Although the mysterious lady was not a false god, she was not afraid of Yigleo at all. She stared at Yigleo with a cold luster in her eyes and a divine light surged in her palm. "You're not dodging?" Seeing this, Yigleo was rather surprised. He could see through the mysterious lady's cultivation at a glance. 9-star War Emperor. 9-star War Emperor was already considered to be at the top of the pyramid in the Forgotten Continent, but in front of a false god like him, it was nothing. She was actually prepared to fight him head-on. Could it be that she was hiding some tricks? But then, he shook his head. Even if this woman had some tricks up her sleeve, facing the absolute suppression of cultivation, she wouldn't be able to cause any big waves. "You're courting death." Yigleo's gaze turned cold. His 5 fingers clenched into a fist, and punched towards the mysterious lady's face. The power of the false god roared, emitting the power to destroy the world. This punch. It contained his peak power and was about to shatter the void. But the mysterious lady just chuckled, her seemingly delicate arm suddenly raised, and slapped Yigleo's fist. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, the two of them were sent flying at the same time, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of their mouths. How is this possible? Yigleo's expression changed drastically. A mere 9-star War Emperor could actually hurt him? Boom! Just as he was in shock, the mysterious lady stabilized herself in the air, and her entire body erupted with a monstrous aura. This aura had already surpassed that of a 9-star War Emperor. "You actually..." Yigleo was dumbfounded. The white-robed old man also immediately stopped and looked at the mysterious lady in disbelief. This woman was also a false god. The mysterious lady looked at the two of them and smiled. "I'm sorry, I just recovered my cultivation a while ago." "Recovered your cultivation?" The two of them were surprised. Shouldn't it be a breakthrough in cultivation? How could it be a recovery? Breaking through and recovering were two completely different things. Breaking through one's cultivation base was breaking through from one realm to a completely new realm. But recovering one's cultivation was recovering one's previous cultivation. In other words, this woman used to be a false god? Xueqi shouted. "Who the hell are you? If you were really a fake god in the past, then we should know you. But why don't we have any impression of you?" "Who am I?" "Hee hee. Ha ha. I'm someone you never want to see." The mysterious madam laughed hysterically, but her eyes were filled with hatred. "Stop pretending," Xueqi said sternly. The mysterious madam stopped laughing and looked at Xueqi and the young man. She smiled sinisterly and said, "Come on then. Let's see who will emerge victorious today." Boom! The four of them attacked at almost the same time. For the sake of the divine crystals, none of them were willing to back down. They slaughtered their way up into the sky, causing the weather to change. Whoosh! Suddenly, Qin Feiyong and Wolf King appeared out of thin air. They stood on the broken ground and raised their heads to look at the four people. "That bitch is actually a false god." Wolf King's pupils contracted. Qin Feiyong's face was also filled with shock. They had underestimated the mysterious madam's strength time and time again. When they first met in White Fox City, they thought that the mysterious madam was only a war saint, but who would have thought that she would burst out with the cultivation of a war king? And now she had become a false god. They were as confused as Xueqi and the young man. What was the origin of this woman? Who is he? When he saw the old man in white robe, Qin Feiyong was stunned. He had never seen this person before. "Little bastard, you're finally willing to come out." Suddenly, a cold voice entered Qin Feiyong and Wolf King's ears. The man and the wolf retracted their gazes and turned their heads to see the Mu family's second ancestor rushing towards them. His eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. "Not good." Hearing the voice, the mysterious madam's expression changed. She lowered her head to look at Qin Feiyong and shouted, "Go to the castle immediately, wait for us to deal with them, then come out." Being entangled by Xueqi and the old man in white robe, neither she nor the middle-aged man could divert their attention to protect Qin Feiyong. And Qin Feiyong's cultivation was only a 4-star war saint. How could he be a match for the Mu family's second ancestor? So, when she saw Qin Feiyong coming out of the castle, she immediately became nervous. Of course. What made her nervous was definitely not Qin Feiyong's safety, but the divine crystal. "Qin Feiyong, the conditions I offered before still count. As long as you hand over the divine crystal, we will think of a way to take down that woman and save Yan Wei's clansmen." Hearing the mysterious madam's words, Mu Qing also hurriedly said. He was also afraid that Qin Feiyong would hide in the castle again. Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered uncertainly. "I didn't expect you to offer such conditions, but you want to take me down with just your Mu family. You're too naive." The mysterious madam sneered presumptuously. Mu Qing's face darkened. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Do you see that old man in white robe? He's the old ancestor of my Mu family, only one step away from stepping into the true war god realm. As long as he has some time, he will definitely take down that woman." Only one step away. Qin Feiyong's heart trembled. Even in the same realm, there were differences in strength. Under normal circumstances, those who just broke through were definitely not as strong as those who broke through earlier. That's right, this old man is only one step away from stepping into the war god realm. When the war god appears, all living things are ants, so young man, you must adapt to the situation. The old man in white robe finally opened his mouth. His voice was like a bell, shaking the sky. The threat in his words was not concealed at all. "So what if I'm only one step away? I still won't lose to you." The middle-aged man laughed disdainfully. He went all out, fighting with the old man in white robe until the sky turned dark. They were actually neck and neck. The more time passed, the more the old man in white robe was surprised. Finally, with a tone of disbelief, he asked, "Don't tell me you're also only one step away?" What do you think? The middle-aged man coldly snorted. Impossible. A strong person like you would definitely not be unknown. Could it be that you're not from the Forgotten Continent? The old man in white robe was shocked. Born and raised here. But your Mu family. Back then the main tower took you in and gave you a place in the Forgotten Continent. But what about you? It's fine if you're not grateful, but you're actually scheming against the main tower. I really don't understand. How can there be such shameless people like you in this world? The middle-aged man sneered. The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. This is a truth that has never changed. And my Mu family, with the blood of a king flowing in our veins, we are born with pride. How can we tolerate you lowly ants, wantonly standing on our heads and behaving atrociously? The old man in white robe roared, both of his hands stretched out, and the power of a fake god flooded the sky. Rumble! The void cracked open. A black spatial storm roared out from the crack, sweeping across the land. The void actually shattered. Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyong and Wolf King's eyes almost popped out. Shattering the void was a very vague legend. In the past, they also never believed that there was anyone in this world who could shatter the void. But at this moment, all of this happened in front of their eyes. Too shocking. Too terrifying. To be able to shatter the void. Was the strength of a fake god so terrifying? Now, it's not up to you whether you want to hand over the divinity crystal or not. At the same time, the Mu family's second ancestor rushed over, the emperor's aura like a waterfall, shrouding Qin Feiyong and Wolf King. Oh no! The mysterious lady's face changed. Mu family, are you bullying us because we don't have enough people? But at this time, a violent roar sounded, and another old man in black clothes wearing a black mask descended in the sky above Black Cloud Valley. Boom! The old man in black's aura soared into the sky, and as soon as he appeared, he swooped down in front of the Mu family's second ancestor like lightning and slammed down with his palm. Ah! Accompanied by a shrill scream, the Mu family's second ancestor's blood splattered across the sky, leaving no bones behind. A dignified 9-star combat emperor was killed in seconds just like that. Second brother. Second ancestor. In the distance, the Mu family's great ancestor and Mu Qing suddenly cried out in grief. Above the sky. Yiglao and the white-robed old man also changed color, and hurriedly looked at the old man in black, their eyes full of horror. It was actually another fake god. Humph! Come to my forgotten continent, not obediently stay, all day long doing evil. Let me tell you, I've tolerated you for a long time. The old man in black glanced at Yiglao and Mu Qing, his eyes full of coldness. As soon as his voice fell, he suddenly raised his arm and pointed his index finger in the air. Whoosh! Immediately, a bright fake god's power cut through the sky and charged towards Mu Qing and the Mu family's great ancestor. Damn it! Yiglao's face changed, and hurriedly pushed back the mysterious lady with a palm. He swooped down like lightning and landed in front of Mu Qing and the great ancestor, then raised his hand and waved. A fake god's power burst out and collided with the divine power of the old man in black. The moment the divine power met, the two took a few steps back at the same time, their faces faintly pale. Yiglao looked at the old man in black, then looked at the mysterious lady and the middle-aged man, and shouted unwillingly, "Let's go!" After saying that, he waved his big sleeve, rolled up Mu Qing and the great ancestor, turned around and left without looking back. We won't let this matter go. And you, Qin Feiyong. The white-robed old man pushed the middle-aged man away with a palm, looked gloomily at Qin Feiyong below, and also turned around and disappeared like lightning. Phew! Seeing them leave, the middle-aged man and the mysterious lady also let out a long breath. The Mu family has suffered a big loss this time, Wolf King said with a sneaky smile. Not only did they not get the divine crystal, but they also lost the second ancestor of the Mu family. It could be said that they suffered a double loss. They deserve it, Qin Feiyong whispered, without the slightest sympathy. Oh no! But at this time, the old man in black suddenly exclaimed, looked up at the mysterious lady and the middle-aged man and said, "Madam, the fluctuations of the battle here have been sensed by the people of the main tower. I guess they have found us, quickly leave." After saying that, he opened a portal. What? The two's eyes trembled, and they quickly flew down. The mysterious lady looked at the middle-aged man and said in a deep voice, "Quickly erase the aura here." The middle-aged man nodded and waved his hand. An invisible force suddenly surged out in all directions. Wherever it went, the fluctuations of the battle immediately calmed down, and the residual aura disappeared without a trace. Let's go. The mysterious lady waved her hand, rolled up Qin Feiyong and Wolf King, and turned around and entered the portal. Chapter 11:23. Not long after the portal dissipated, four figures cut through the sky and landed in the sky above Black Cloud Valley. It was the Chief Tower Master, Wang Su, and the two old men from the Land of Inheritance. The battle fluctuations we sensed before should have come from here. Looking at the shattered ground, Wang Su's face sank. One of the old men said, "It's a pity that the aura here has been deliberately erased. We don't know who is fighting, but judging from the degree of destruction, the person who fought is not weaker than this old man." Wang Su and the Chief Tower Master were shocked. The old man clenched his hand and said, "Investigate immediately, start with the Mu family. Because in the Forgotten Continent, except for our Chief Tower and the mysterious force behind Qin Feiyong, only the Mu family has false gods." "Yes." The Chief Tower Master nodded. Then the old man opened the portal and was ready to leave. "Everyone, wait." But at this moment, a gloomy voice sounded. "Ha!" The Chief Tower Master and the other three were shocked. There were people hiding nearby, and they didn't notice? Whoosh! Before the voice fell, four figures came from the distance like lightning and landed in front of the Chief Tower Master. It was Mu Qing and the other three. In fact, they didn't really leave before, they just pretended to leave. "It's really you." Seeing Yiglao and Mu Qing covered in blood, the Chief Tower Master's eyes sank slightly. "Yes. Just now, we were fighting with Qin Feiyong and the others." The Mu family's great ancestor said. "Why did you fight?" The Chief Tower Master asked. "God crystals." The Mu family's great ancestor said. The Chief Tower Master and the other three's faces suddenly sank. The Mu family's great ancestor said in a deep voice, "I know now, you must think that we have snatched the God crystals from Qin Feiyong, but I can tell you responsibly that we failed." "What? You sent 2 false gods, and you still failed." The four were surprised. The Mu family's great ancestor said, "We have 2 false gods, but Qin Feiyong has 3. "Impossible." The Chief Tower Master shook his head. "False gods are not cabbages. How can there be 3 of them?" "This is the truth. That mysterious woman, I believe you all know her. She is also a false god." Mu Jia's great ancestor said. Chief Pagoda Master's eyes trembled as he asked, "Then who are the other 2 fake gods?" "A middle-aged man in white and a masked old man in black. I've never seen them before. My second brother died at the hands of that black-clothed masked old man." The Mu family's great ancestor said. His old eyes were filled with hatred. The black-clothed masked old man should be him. Then he looked at the Mu family's ancestor and sneered, "Serves you right." "Serves you right?" The Mu clan's ancestor was furious. "You don't think that the Mu clan is also after the divine crystals, do you?" "Isn't that so?" The Chief Tower Master said. "No. We came to intercept Qin Feiyong in order to help your main pagoda. After all, it was your main tower that took in my Mu family, allowing my Mu family to have a place in the Forgotten Continent." The great ancestor of the Mu family said without blushing or skipping a beat. "Is that so?" The Chief Tower Master's eyes narrowed slightly. "Nonsense. Although my Mu family is not a kind family, we still know how to repay kindness." The Mu family's ancestor said angrily. The Chief Tower Master said, "If that's the case, then why didn't you tell us where Qin Feiyong is in the first place? Why did you come to snatch the divine crystals yourself?" "Because we wanted to give you a surprise, but who knew that Qin Feiyong was hiding so many fake gods behind him?" "Damn it!" The Mu family's ancestor clenched his hands, his old eyes flashed with a cold light. The Chief Tower Master frowned and said, "Old Wang, 2 ancestors, do you think what the Mu family's ancestor said is true?" "It's hard to judge. But now, we don't have time to think about these problems. Getting back the divine crystals is more important. And didn't the Mu family say that they want to help us? Then let them help us to the end, and let them come with us to find Qin Feiyong." Wang Su and the other 2 secretly said. The Chief Tower Master said, "This is not appropriate. What if the Mu family doesn't mean what they say and snatch the divine crystals when we're not paying attention? So, we have to pay attention to them at all times. Moreover, Qin Feiyong has 3 fake gods around him. If we don't join forces with the Mu family, we won't be able to get it back. Wang Su said. Okay. The chief tower master secretly responded, looking at Mu Qing and the other 3, he nodded and said, Okay, I believe in you. Now, I want to ask for your help. No problem. They killed my second brother. This blood feud must be paid with their lives. The Mu family's ancestor said. The chief tower master looked at him deeply and asked, Then do you know where they are now? Qing'er. The Mu family's ancestor shouted. Mu Qing nodded, and a strange light immediately appeared in her eyes. Above a mountain range, Qin Feiyong and the others appeared out of thin air. Where is this? Qin Feiyong and Wolf King glanced down in surprise. Because just in this area, they could sense the aura of dozens of emperor beasts. Fire Phoenix Mountain Range. The black-clothed old man said. So it's here. Qin Feiyong suddenly realized. At that time, Li Yan and Fatso helped Yan Wei open the door of potential in this place. The mysterious lady looked at the black-clothed old man and sighed. Fortunately, you came in time. Otherwise, we would be in big trouble this time. If it was just Yigleo and the white-robed old man, she and the middle-aged man could still deal with them. However, if the people of the chief tower were to join forces, they would definitely be in trouble. As long as you're fine. The black-clothed old man smiled. How did you escape? How did you find us? The mysterious lady asked. If I want to leave, they can't stop me. The black-clothed old man smiled confidently and then said, As for your whereabouts, Rushuang told me. The mysterious lady said, Then where is Rushuang now? She's safe now. Don't worry. When we get the divine crystals, we'll rush over to meet her. But now, my identity has been exposed. I can no longer grasp the whereabouts of the people of the chief tower. The black-clothed old man sighed. It doesn't matter, as long as we get the divine crystals. The mysterious lady smiled and turned to Qin Feiyong, saying, Can you give me the divine crystals now? Where are Yan Wei's clansmen? Qin Feiyong took a few steps back and looked at the mysterious lady warily. The mysterious lady said, Don't be so nervous. I won't hurt you. Yan Wei's clansmen are also very safe. Qin Feiyong sneered, I won't believe your nonsense. When I see Yan Wei's clansmen, I'll give you the divine crystals. You brat. The mysterious lady shook her head helplessly. Seeing that the mysterious lady had no intention of hurting him and Wolf King, Qin Feiyong was secretly relieved. He looked at the black-clothed old man and asked, Who are you? We've met before. The black-clothed old man smiled. Met before? Qin Feiyong was stunned. The black-clothed old man took off his mask, revealing an old face. There was a scar above his left eye. It's you. Qin Feiyong was greatly surprised. He would never forget this familiar face in front of him for the rest of his life. Because this was the old man who secretly helped him in the land of inheritance. Very surprised, right? The old man smiled. Qin Feiyong nodded. He never would have thought that this old man was also on the mysterious lady's side. No wonder he secretly helped him back then. At this time, the mysterious lady looked at the old man and said, Send a message to Rushuang and ask her to come and meet us. Then we'll take Qin Feiyong to see Yan Wei's clansmen. The old man nodded and took out the image crystal. Boom! However, at this time, several terrifying auras descended above them. The few of them were startled and hurriedly looked up. How is this possible? The black-clothed old man, the mysterious lady, and the middle-aged man suddenly changed their expressions. Because the people who suddenly appeared were Mu Qing's group of 4, as well as the Chief Pagoda Master's group of 4. Qin Feiyong sent a sound transmission. I forgot to tell you, Mu Qing has activated a battle soul called Heavenly Eye. She can find our location anytime, anywhere. What? The 3 of them were dumbfounded. Now that we have 4 false gods, let's see how you can escape this time? The Mu clan's great ancestor sneered. Boom! 4 divine auras erupted. Yigleo and the other 3 false gods descended from the sky and charged towards Qin Feiyong's group. Qin Feiyong, we'll hold them back. Hurry up and leave. Send a message to Rushwang and tell her to leave as well. The black-clothed old man roared. Then, the three of them looked at each other and charged towards Yigleo's group of 4 with surging divine auras. Rushwang? Qin Feiyong was stunned and asked, "Who is Rushwang?" The black-clothed old man shouted without turning his head. "It's the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion that you guys are talking about. Hurry up and leave." "So it's her," Qin Feiyong muttered and immediately opened the teleportation gate. "You want to leave? No way." Yigleo's eyes flashed with a cold light as he turned in the air and charged towards Qin Feiyong. "Your opponent is us." The mysterious lady's face was gloomy as she led the black-clothed old man and the middle-aged man in front of Yigleo. "Humph! Do you think we don't exist?" The white-robed old man snorted coldly as his figure flashed and quickly blocked in front of the middle-aged man. The 2 false gods of the chief pagoda also blocked the mysterious lady and the black-clothed old man. "It's not the same as before. Just now, you guys outnumbered us, so we had no choice but to retreat. And now, we have 4 false gods and you only have 3 false gods. How are you going to fight us?" Yigleo laughed disdainfully, bypassed the mysterious lady and the other 2, and continued to charge towards Qin Feiyong and Wolf King. His eyes filled with killing intent. Qin Feiyong's face darkened. Now, the mysterious lady and the other 2 were busy and could only rely on himself. With a wave of his hand, he sent Wolf King to the ancient castle and then entered the teleportation gate. Naive. Yigleo's face was full of ridicule as he raised his old hand and waved it in the air. An invisible divine power roared out like lightning and shattered the teleportation gate on the spot. Qin Feiyong, who had just entered the teleportation gate, staggered and fell out again. And under that divine power, his whole body was dripping with blood. What should I do? At the critical moment of life and death, Qin Feiyong not only did not panic, but was also unprecedentedly calm. In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Suddenly. Chapter 11:24. What? In the sky. The chief pagoda master and Wang Su trembled. The 2 old men also immediately stopped and looked at Yigleo and the others. Good chance. Seeing the 2 of them stop, the eyes of the mysterious lady and the old man in black lit up and they immediately charged at Yigleo fiercely. Facing the sudden attack of 2 false gods, Yigleo did not dare to be careless. He had to stop and face the mysterious lady and the old man seriously. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong raised his head and looked at Mu Qing sarcastically. He then opened the portal again and walked in without looking back. Bastard! Looking on helplessly as Qin Feiyong slipped away from under her nose, Mu Qing was so angry that she was about to go crazy. She looked at the chief pagoda master and the other 3 and roared. "He's sowing dissension, you've all been tricked." "Sow discord?" The chief pagoda master and the others were slightly stunned and immediately looked down at Qin Feiyong. However, there was no trace of Qin Feiyong below. Even the portal was about to dissipate. Damn it! The 4 of them were annoyed. The Mu family's ancestor urged, "Quickly use your omniscient eye and see where he went." "Kill him." The mysterious lady looked up at Mu Qing with murderous intent in her eyes. "Okay." The old man in black nodded. As long as Mu Qing was there, no matter where Qin Feiyong escaped, he would be found in the end. So they had to find a way to get rid of this boy. Whoosh! The 2 of them turned into a stream of light and went straight to Mu Qing. Don't even think about it. Yigleo also instantly saw through their purpose. With a violent roar, he chased after the 2 of them. The 2 false gods of the chief pagoda also came back to their senses and immediately stepped forward to stop the mysterious lady and the old man in black. "What should we do now?" The old man in black secretly said, extremely anxious. The mysterious lady sighed and said, "There's no other way. We can only let Qin Feiyong fend for himself." Rumble. Crack. A battle between quasi-divinities could easily destroy the world. In just an instant, this place was shattered into pieces. It was a scene of devastation, and the ferocious beasts fled in all directions. A moment later, Mu Qing's eyes lit up. She opened the teleportation gate and shouted, "I found him. Come with me." Mu Jia's great ancestor, chief pagoda master, and Wang Su immediately rushed towards the transmission gate. If they stayed here, they wouldn't be of any help. They might as well chase after Qin Feiyong. Most importantly, The Mu Jia wants to take the divine crystal for themselves. The main tower was also guarding against them. Therefore, they would never allow anyone to pursue Qin Feiyong alone. In the meantime, Yigleo's eyes flickered as he scanned the crowd. Now! The mysterious madam, the black-robed old man, and the middle-aged man were all busy dealing with the white-robed old man and the two false divinities from the main tower. It seemed like there was no need for him to do anything. Shwa! Suddenly, he turned into a streak of light and also flew towards the teleportation gate. As long as he followed, the divine crystal would definitely become his Mu Jia's. Because right now, only the chief pagoda master and Wang Su were following him. Both of them were only 9-star war emperors. They simply didn't have the ability to snatch the divine crystal from him. You can't go. But just as he was about to enter the teleportation gate, the two false divinities from the main tower left the mysterious madam and the black-robed old man at the same time and blocked in front of the teleportation gate. What do you mean? Yigleo raised his eyebrows. There are some things that we have to guard against. One of the old men said. Yigleo's face sank slightly. Obviously, the people from the main tower were guarding against his Mu Jia. The white-robed old man pushed the middle-aged man away with a palm. He raised his head and looked at the two old men. He looked at Yigleo and said, "Stay here and deal with the three of them with us. Today, no matter what, we must take them down." Take us down? Are you kidding? The middle-aged man, the mysterious madam, and the black-robed old man also took the opportunity to gather together and sneered. Then let's try. Yigleo immediately turned around and rushed toward the three of them. The two false divinities from the main tower and the white-robed old man also attacked the three of them. Divine might spread in all directions. An earth-shattering battle had truly begun. In the sky above a forest, Qin Feiyong held the image crystal in his hand and stood against the wind. In the void in front of him stood a beautiful shadow. It was the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Under normal circumstances, my teacher would never let me go alone. What happened? At this moment, she looked at Qin Feiyong with a face full of uneasiness. The situation is urgent. I can't explain it clearly now. In short, you should leave first. After they escape, they will look for you, Qin Feiyong said. Then where are you going now? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion asked. I don't know. Qin Feiyong shook his head. No matter where he escaped to, Mu Qing would be able to find him. So now, there was no place for him to hide in the Forgotten Continent. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said, Then come to our place. We'll think of a way together. Qin Feiyong's heart skipped a beat. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house had the cultivation of an 8-star combat emperor. If he was with her, at least in terms of safety, he would be a little safer. Quickly give me the coordinates, Qin Feiyong said. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house immediately gave the coordinates to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong also immediately opened the teleportation gate and rushed in. Not long after Qin Feiyong left, Mu Qing and the others descended in the sky above the forest. Scanning the empty void, Mu Qing said in a deep voice, We're late. Wang Su said, He knows that you can predict his location, so he definitely won't stay in one place for too long. Looks like this will become a protracted battle. No matter where he goes, I will capture him today. Mu Qing clenched her hands, and a strange light appeared in her eyes. At the same time, outside the Divine City, in a dense forest, Qin Feiyong and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house stood opposite each other. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said, Quickly tell me, what kind of trouble did teacher and the others encounter? But Qin Feiyong lowered his head and turned a deaf ear. There was only one thought in his mind. How could he escape Mu Qing's pursuit? Right. Where can I go? Qin Feiyong suddenly slapped his forehead and quickly opened a teleportation gate. Where are we going? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house looked at him suspiciously. Just follow me. Qin Feiyong grabbed her wrist and entered the teleportation gate. Swish. Just as the two of them left, Mu Qing brought the chief pagoda master and the others to this place. We're late again. The Mu family's ancestor scanned the surrounding forest, his eyes extremely sinister. The chief pagoda master looked at Mu Qing and said, Can you do it or not? Don't you know how to sense it carefully? Mu Qing looked at him coldly and ignored the chief pagoda master. The strange light in her eyes became brighter and brighter. Sense it carefully? The chief pagoda master raised his eyebrows and sensed carefully. As expected, he sensed the aura left behind by Qin Feiyong in the air. He actually went there. Suddenly, Mu Qing's body trembled as she exclaimed. Where? The few of them looked at him in surprise. Mu Qing didn't say a word and immediately opened the teleportation gate. The group of people rushed in like lightning. Qinghai. Qin Feiyong brought the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house and descended on the island. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house scanned the island and frowned. Isn't this the Qinghai Island? What are we doing here? You know it too. But now is not the time to talk nonsense. You're fast. Bring me to the inner sea immediately. Qin Feiyong said. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house looked at him suspiciously. With a wave of her jade-like hand, she rolled up Qin Feiyong and rushed towards the inner sea. Swish! However, in less than 3 breaths, Mu Qing and her group appeared. Look, he's in front. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house is also with him. Wang Su immediately discovered Qin Feiyong and Mu Qing. Chase! The chief pagoda master and the great ancestor of the Mu clan broke through the air almost at the same time and chased after Qin Feiyong and Mu Qing. Their speed was as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, they had closed a large distance. Damn it! They actually caught up so quickly. Qin Feiyong's face was gloomy. We used the teleportation gate to teleport here. How did they know we were here? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was also shocked. How could Qin Feiyong have the time to explain now? One must know. The chief pagoda master and Wang Su, as well as the great ancestor of the Mu clan, were all 9-star combat emperors. Although the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was only a small realm lower than them, the difference in speed was like heaven and earth. If he didn't think of a way, he was afraid that he would be caught by them before entering the inland sea. And even if he entered the inland sea, it was only a matter of time before he was chased by them. And now, he couldn't go to the castle. Because the chief pagoda and the Mu clan had joined forces, the mysterious lady and the other 2 were probably unable to protect themselves now. Once they entered the castle, they would definitely be trapped inside. Mu Qing proudly said, Qin Feiyong, you are now at the end of the road, give up struggling. Qin Feiyong glanced at Mu Qing and shouted, Chief Pagoda Master, Elder Wang, you have really been used by the Mu clan. Still want to sow discord? The Mu clan laughed disdainfully. Qin Feiyong sneered and said, You know in your heart whether you are trying to sow discord or not. Chief Pagoda Master, Elder Wang, you still don't know Mu Qing's other identity, Qin Day. Shut up! The chief pagoda master shouted angrily and waved his hand in the air. Battle Qi surged out like a torrent and turned into a huge wave, drowning the sky and pouncing towards Qin Feiyong. It wasn't that he didn't believe what Qin Feiyong said, but he didn't want to be distracted by other things now. You can't escape. I will hold them back. Hurry up and leave. You must protect the divine crystal. Feeling the billowing Battle Qi behind her, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's eyes darkened. She secretly said something to Qin Feiyong and turned around to slap the air. Battle Qi surged out from her palm. Boom! The 2 Battle Qi collided with a loud bang, and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body was on the verge of collapse, and her cheeks under the veil were even paler. Are you all right? Qin Feiyong hurriedly supported her and asked with concern. He thought that it would be safer to be with this woman, but he didn't expect that he would implicate her instead. I can still hold on for a while. Hurry up and leave. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion pushed him back with a palm. Qin Feiyong sighed and said, Don't joke around. The chief pagoda master has mastered a divine art. You are not his match at all. Originally, he came here to enter the internal sea. Although Mu Qing could predict his location in the internal sea, she couldn't open a teleportation gate in the internal sea after all. As long as he made good use of this point, he might be able to find a chance of survival. But he never expected that these people would come so quickly and not give him a chance at all. Even if I am not his match, I can only take a gamble now. Perhaps the heavens will pity me and let me fight for a glimmer of hope for you. Chapter 11:25. The heavens have mercy. Qin Feiyong looked at the sky. If the heavens truly had a heart of compassion, then there wouldn't be so much suffering in this world. So, it was better to rely on himself than to beg the heavens for mercy. Qin Feiyong retracted his gaze and looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, saying, "I won't leave you behind and escape alone." Letting a woman cover his retreat was something he couldn't do. Moreover, even if he left the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion behind, he wouldn't be able to escape. Because now, not only was there the chief pagoda master, there was also Wang Su and the Mu family's great ancestor. Even if the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion could stop the chief pagoda master, she wouldn't be able to stop Wang Su and the other two. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked at him in surprise and said with a bitter smile, "Are you really not afraid of death?" "Who isn't afraid of death? But even if I die, I have to die with dignity. Let's go. As long as we enter the inner sea, I'll be able to find a chance to escape," Qin Feiyong said. In the blink of an eye, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked at him deeply. With a light wave of her jade-like hand, she swept up Qin Feiyong and turned around to continue towards the inner sea. "Still not giving up?" The chief pagoda master sneered. He pointed his index finger in the air and another wave of battle chi surged out. Like a torrent, it pounced towards Qin Feiyong and the young lady. "Don't fight," Qin Feiyong said in a low voice, at the same time activating the battle character art. "Understood." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion nodded and struck out with her palm. Billowing battle chi roared out. Boom! The two waves of battle chi met once again, and a destructive wave of air surged in all directions. Puff! The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion trembled as blood gushed out of her mouth. Qin Feiyong, who was beside her, was also struck by the wave of air. In an instant, his body was badly mutilated as purple-gold dragon blood dyed the air. Fortunately, he had activated the battle character art in advance. Otherwise, he would have already lost his life. Qin Feiyong endured the pain and dizziness as he continued to flee towards the inner sea with the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Very soon, a lake entered their line of sight. Qin Feiyong was no stranger to this lake. It was the lake where the mermaid pattern was hidden. Moreover, just like before, as long as he came here, the feeling of intimacy in his heart would be incomparably strong. But this time, Qin Feiyong did not stop. He only glanced at the lake and then flew over it. Drip! He was bleeding profusely. Drops of purple-gold dragon blood dripped into the lake, dyeing the surface of the lake a purple-gold color. It was also at this moment that an unexpected change occurred. Gurgle gurgle. The water in the entire lake began to boil like boiling water. The chief pagoda master and the others had just flown above the lake. When they saw this scene, they were all extremely bewildered. Mu Qing shouted, "Don't worry about that. Capture Qin Feiyong quickly. We can't let him enter the inland sea." However, before he could finish speaking, a vast and boundless energy suddenly rushed out from the lake, setting off giant waves that were more than 10 meters high. Chief Pagoda Master and the others immediately slammed on the brakes and stopped above the lake. Qin Feiyong and Yi Zichen sensed the commotion behind them. They stopped in mid-air and turned around to look. What's going on? When they saw the abnormality in the lake, a trace of bewilderment appeared between their brows. Look! Golden light is emerging from the bottom of the lake. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion narrowed her eyes and exclaimed, "Golden light?" Qin Feiyong focused his gaze. Indeed. He saw a golden light rising rapidly from the bottom of the lake. Boom! Splash! In the blink of an eye, the golden light rushed out of the lake and appeared above the divine island. How is this possible? Qin Feiyong also raised his head and looked at the sky. His face was instantly filled with disbelief. The golden light was dazzling, like a scorching sun. And within that golden light, there was actually a person standing. That person's face was blurry and could not be seen clearly. However, his body was quite burly. From this, one could tell that he was a relatively strong man. However, his height was different from ordinary people. He was more than 3 meters tall. In his hand, he held a golden harpoon that was 5 to 6 meters long. It looked as if it was cast from gold and emitted a dazzling divine light. However, the most eye-catching thing was that on his back, there was actually a pair of golden wings. Moreover, his lower body did not have legs. It was a golden fish tail. He stood high in the sky, holding the golden trident in his hand. He was like a god that had descended to the world, and his entire body was emitting a great pressure. At this moment, whether it was the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion or the chief pagoda master, they could not help but have the urge to worship him. "Why are you here?" Suddenly, a cry of alarm exploded. It was the voice of the chief pagoda master. And Qin Feiyong hurriedly looked at the chief pagoda master and found that the chief pagoda master was looking at the golden figure with a face full of fear. He then looked at Wang Su and the Mu clan's great ancestor and found that their faces were also filled with fear. What's going on? Qin Feiyong's mind was muddled. However, facing the chief pagoda master's question, the golden figure seemed to have not heard it and did not say a word. However, Qin Feiyong had an illusion that the golden figure was staring at him. Qin Feiyong swallowed his saliva and asked tentatively, "Senior, who are you? Why do you make this junior feel so familiar?" The moment this golden figure appeared, the inexplicable sense of familiarity in his heart immediately reached an unprecedented level. It felt like this person was his relative. However, the golden figure still did not say a word, like a statue. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion sized up the golden figure and suddenly seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes trembled slightly as she shouted, "Let's go!" And Qin Feiyong was stunned. But before he could regain his senses, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion brought him and rushed towards the inner sea without looking back. "Chase!" Mu Qing's expression changed as she shouted. The chief pagoda master and the Mu clan's great ancestor quivered and immediately chased after the two of them. However, in the void in front of them, a golden light screen suddenly appeared, blocking the path of the chief pagoda master and the other two. And as soon as this golden light screen appeared, with the lake as the center, it quickly spread to the ends of the island on both sides. From afar, it looked like a golden wall between Qin Feiyong and the chief pagoda master and the others. Seeing this, Mu Qing and Wang Su were stunned. The chief pagoda master and the Mu clan's great ancestor took a few steps back and looked at the golden light screen in front of them with a blank expression. Qin Feiyong also saw this scene and said in surprise, "He's not protecting us, is he?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked back at the golden figure and shook her head. "He's not protecting us, he's protecting you." "Protecting me?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. "When we're out of danger, I'll explain it to you slowly." After the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion finished speaking, she took Qin Feiyong and rushed straight into the inner sea, gradually disappearing into the violent winds and huge waves. On the island. Damn it. Mu Qing was so angry that he stomped his feet. He was about to catch Qin Feiyong, but in the end, he could only watch the two enter the inner sea. How could he not be angry? The chief pagoda master, the Mu clan's great ancestor, and Wang Su were also burning with anxiety. They all knew the situation in the inner sea. They couldn't open the portal. Once Qin Feiyong ran far away, with Qin Feiyong's cautious personality, even if Mu Qing could use the all-seeing eye to predict Qin Feiyong's location, it would be difficult to catch him. Mu Qing looked at the few of them and said in a deep voice, "In the inner sea, my all-seeing eye can't predict his exact location." What? The three of them suddenly changed color. Can't predict? Isn't this adding insult to injury? Mu Qing said, "This is why I asked you to stop them from entering the inner sea." "Why can't you predict?" Wang Su asked. Mu Qing shook his head and said, "I don't know, but according to my guess, it should be related to the mysterious power that sealed the inner sea. Of course, it also has something to do with my cultivation. My current cultivation is too weak." Mysterious power. The three of them scanned the inner sea and couldn't help but frown. Suddenly, the chief pagoda master turned to look at Mu Qing and said, "Wait, just now you said that you can't predict Qin Feiyong's exact location. That is to say, you can still predict his approximate location?" "Yes, I can predict his approximate location, but what's the use of that?" Mu Qing asked back. The chief pagoda master fell silent. Even if they could predict Qin Feiyong's exact location, it would be difficult to catch him, let alone just a rough location. What should they do now? The chief pagoda master, the Mu clan's great ancestor, and Wang Su, these three giants of the Forgotten Continent, were at a loss at this moment. Looking at the three's performance, Mu Qing's heart was filled with anger. He pointed at the golden figure in the sky and roared, "What else can we do? Of course, we have to find a way to get rid of him quickly. The Mu clan's great ancestor spirit was lifted. Yes, as long as we get rid of him now, we still have a chance to catch up with Qin Feiyang. Get rid of him. The chief pagoda master and Wang Su looked up at the golden figure, and the fear on their faces couldn't dissipate. Let's see if we can break that golden light curtain first. The Mu clan's great ancestor shouted. Boom. After that, he took a step forward, and his battle chi surged, and he punched the golden light curtain with all his strength. However, this punch felt like it hit a sponge, and it didn't have the slightest effect. He actually didn't fight back? At the same time, looking at the golden figure, the chief pagoda master and Wang Su's eyes flashed with a touch of surprise. Immediately, the two stepped forward and landed beside the Mu clan's great ancestor. The three looked at each other, and the emperor's aura erupted, evolving into a supreme battle art, and jointly bombarded the golden light curtain. But it still didn't help. The golden light curtain only trembled a few times, and then calmed down. Still not fighting back? Seeing that the golden figure above was still indifferent, the chief pagoda master looked stunned. Is he not a real person? The Mu clan's great ancestor carefully looked at the golden figure for a while, and his spirit was lifted. I understand, this should be just a wisp of his divine sense. Formed by divine sense? The chief pagoda master and Wang Su were taken aback, and then they were also excited. If he's not a real person, what are we afraid of? Smash him! The chief pagoda master roared. Boom! The three frantically attacked. Battle arts, battle souls, divine weapons, they all came out. However, the result was that not only did they not smash the golden figure, but they were also exhausted and panting like oxen, sweating profusely. I don't believe that I can't even deal with a wisp of your divine sense. The chief pagoda master roared. His hands constantly waved, and a surge of divine power rolled out. Obviously, he used a divine art. But even the divine art still couldn't cause the slightest damage to the golden figure. How can he be so strong? Soon. Chapter 1126. Inland Sea. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house brought Qin Feiyang as fast as lightning above the sea. I wonder if they have caught up. Qin Feiyang turned his head to look at the sea behind him and muttered to himself. His face was still full of worry. I don't think so. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house shook her head. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in confusion, Why do you think so? That golden figure is very powerful. With the ability of the Chief Tower Master and the others, they can't break through his seal. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said. Golden figure. Why is he on the island? Qin Feiyang muttered. Although he couldn't see the golden figure's face clearly, whether it was his figure or the harpoon in his hand, they were exactly the same as the Mermaid Emperor statue that was enshrined in the Holy Land of the Mermaid clan. It was because of this that he was so shocked when he saw the golden figure. Because he was sure that it should be the Mermaid Emperor who had left with his ancestor back then. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said, His existence is related to an ancient legend. You know him too? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Of course I know. Not only do I know, the current rulers of the Forgotten Continent, such as the Chief Tower Master, Wang Su, the Mu clan's ancestor, the various fake gods, and the ancestors of the various super tribes also know. He is the emperor of the Mermaid clan, the strongest general under your ancestor. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said. As expected. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. No wonder the Chief Tower Master and the others had such a terrified expression when they saw the Mermaid Emperor. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said. However, the Mermaid Emperor that appeared just now was not a real person. Not a real person? Qin Feiyang was shocked. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house nodded and said, Yes, if I'm not wrong. He is a wisp of divine sense left behind by the Mermaid Emperor back then. What? A wisp of divine sense? Divine sense can transform into a human form? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Of course, the divine sense of a false god can't transform into a human form. However, a true war god's divine sense has great power. Perhaps to you, a false god is already the most powerful existence in this world. But let me tell you, a true god of war only needs a strand of divine thought to kill a false god. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said. Qin Feiyang's face was blank, and his head was rumbling. The gap between a false god and a war god was actually this big? Qin Feiyang asked. Are you saying that the Mermaid Emperor is a true god of war? Yes. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion nodded. Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. If the Mermaid Emperor was a god of war, then how powerful was the ancestor back then? As if she could see the doubt in Qin Feiyang's heart, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked at the horizon and said in a low voice, Your ancestor was extremely powerful. In that era, no matter if it was the Great Qin Empire or the Forgotten Continent, no one could compete with him. He had heard of it. Qin Feiyang could not help but think about it. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked into the eyes of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. He did not know if it was an illusion or not, but in the eyes of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, he actually found a trace of unresolvable sadness. Just as he was feeling suspicious, he seemed to have thought of something, and his expression froze, saying, That's not right, since that strand of divine sense can even kill a false god, then why didn't it directly kill the Chief Tower Master and the others, and only stop them? The divine sense carries the will of its master. The reason why the Mermaid Emperor left this strand of divine sense behind was to protect the Forgotten Continent, so he will not harm anyone. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said, Protect the Forgotten Continent? What's going on? Qin Feiyang did not understand. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said, This is related to the legend that I mentioned to you just now. Legend has it that a long time ago, a divine beast was born here. Why does this legend sound so familiar? Just as the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion started to explain, Qin Feiyang's expression became startled. Suddenly, he thought of it. You can't be talking about this legend, right? That divine beast was very ambitious and wanted to rule this continent. In the end, a mysterious expert appeared and fought a bloody battle with it for 3 days and 3 nights before finally subduing it? Qin Feiyang interrupted the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and asked. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was startled, and asked suspiciously, How do you know? It really is this legend. Qin Feiyang laughed helplessly, and said, The last time I came to Qinghai, I heard it from a friend. This friend was naturally worth Wang Zicheng. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion nodded her head in realization, and asked, Then do you think this legend is true? Qin Feiyang thought for a moment, and said, At that time I was skeptical, but now that I heard you say the same, I firmly believe it. There's nothing to doubt, because this is true. It's just that the battle back then was not as exaggerated as the rumors. After all, there aren't many who truly know the truth. The rest of the people only heard rumors, and then the more they spread, the more exaggerated they became. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion laughed. Then what's the situation? Qin Feiyang asked. That divine beast indeed wants to rule this continent, but there's no bloody battle for 3 days and 3 nights. That mysterious expert only used one move to defeat it, and he didn't subdue it either. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said. He didn't subdue it? You're saying that the mysterious expert directly killed it? Qin Feiyang said. He didn't kill it either. That mysterious expert is a very benevolent person. He only sealed that divine beast's cultivation, making it stay at the false god realm forever. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said. Seal. Qin Feiyang was startled and said, Then what about now? Is that divine beast still in the inner sea? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said, It's not in the inner sea, it's in the endless sea. Endless sea. I heard people talk about the endless sea, saying that there's a divine beast in the endless sea. Could it be him? Qin Feiyang was surprised. That's right, it's him. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion nodded. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization, then looked at her suspiciously. These should be secrets, but how do you know so clearly? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion laughed. Compared to this, don't you want to know who that mysterious expert is? Qin Feiyang was stunned. After thinking carefully about the cause and effect, he said in surprise, It can't be the Mermaid Emperor, right? Yes and no. Because the Mermaid Emperor was indeed present at that time, but he didn't make a move. The person who really made a move was your ancestor. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said. What? Qin Feiyang's body trembled. That mysterious expert was actually his ancestor? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said, "Your ancestor saved the Forgotten Continent. In order to show his respect, the people of the main tower enshrined his statue in the land of inheritance." "I see," Qin Feiyong muttered. The doubts in his heart were finally solved. And the great kindness that Gong Sun Bei mentioned at that time should be this matter. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion continued, "But because of some reasons, the main tower master hates your ancestor very much." "What reason?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head and said, "This matter, I have no comment for now." Qin Feiyong said, "Then back to the previous topic, how do you know so much? Did your teacher and the mysterious madam tell you?" "No comment." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head. Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel annoyed. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion glanced at him and said with a faint smile, "Instead of thinking about these unimportant questions, why don't you think about how to deal with the Mu family's revenge?" At the mention of the Mu family, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel irritated. "Although you haven't personally killed anyone from the Mu family, whether it's the demon child and the butler, or Lu Xingfeng and the Mu family's second ancestor, they all died because of you. Especially this time, if you don't give them the divine crystals, you've completely angered them. I'm afraid they really won't let this go." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said. Qin Feiyong coldly snorted, "It doesn't matter, we'll deal with it when the time comes." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head. In the face of such a grim situation, this child could still act so relaxed. How did he train his state of mind? Following that, a trace of worry crept up in her eyes as she said, "Now tell me, what kind of trouble did Mother and the others encounter?" Qin Feiyong nodded, and immediately explained in detail what happened after they escaped from the Divine City. Time passed in a flash. The next day, early morning, the two of them stopped above an island. After traveling for a day and a night, even if the main tower master and the others have already entered the inner sea, they won't be able to catch up to us for a while. Let's stop and rest for a while. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion scanned the island and said, "All right." Qin Feiyong nodded. The two of them entered the island and landed on a mountain peak. There were many holy beasts on the island, but when they sensed the aura emitted by the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, they did not dare to approach. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately took out an image crystal. Although she did not say it, Qin Feiyong could guess that she was definitely sending a message to the mysterious lady and the other two. However, the mysterious lady and the other two did not respond to her for a long time. The worry in the young lady's eyes grew even stronger. Qin Feiyong did not know how to comfort her, so he walked to the side and also took out an image crystal. Bas. Not long later, Wang Zicheng's shadow appeared. "Greetings, young master." He looked at Qin Feiyong and unwillingly bowed. "How have you been?" Qin Feiyong asked. Wang Zicheng said, "Not bad, what about you?" Qin Feiyong laughed bitterly. "I'm on the run." "On the run?" Wang Zicheng raised his eyebrows and asked, "What's going on?" Qin Feiyong said, "I stole the chief pagoda master's things, and am currently being chased by 4 fake gods." "What? Being chased by fake gods?" Wang Zicheng was flabbergasted. This guy was too good at causing trouble, right? He said, "Then where are you now? Do you need our help?" "I'm in the inner sea right now. As for helping, forget it. With your little strength, it's not enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. You guys are still the same as before, staying in Qinghai and pretending not to know me," Qin Feiyong said. Wang Zicheng frowned. "Since that's the case, why are you sending me a message now?" Qin Feiyong said, "I'm just telling you guys in advance that I might leave the Forgotten Continent for a period of time." "Where are you going?" Wang Zicheng asked. "I haven't thought about it yet. But regardless of whether I leave or not, you guys have to be careful during this period of time," Qin Feiyong said. Wang Zicheng nodded. "I understand. I'll tell the Black Monkey and the others later." Chapter 1127. Nope. The young lady shook her head. "Don't worry. Although the Mu family and the main pagoda have joined hands, your teacher and the others are all quite strong. Even if they are not their opponents, escaping is definitely not a problem." Qin Feiyang laughed. I hope so. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion sighed and was about to put away the image crystal. But suddenly, the image crystal shone brightly. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion perked up and immediately activated the image crystal. But an illusory figure quickly appeared. It was the mysterious lady. But at this moment, the mysterious lady was in a sorry state. Her entire body was covered in blood, and one of her arms was missing. The middle-aged man was also standing beside her. He was also covered in wounds, and his face was as pale as paper. Obviously, both of them were severely injured. Seeing this, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately became anxious and asked, "Are you guys all right?" "I won't die." The middle-aged man grinned. Qin Feiyang walked to the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, sized up the bloodstains on their bodies, and asked, "Did you guys just end the battle?" The mysterious lady said, "It's not that we just ended the battle, we just escaped." "In that case, you guys fought for an entire day and night?" Qin Feiyang said in shock. "Yes." The mysterious lady nodded. "Amazing." Qin Feiyang was secretly speechless. This was the first time he had heard of a bloody battle that lasted for an entire day and night. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked at the mysterious lady and the middle-aged man and asked, "Where's teacher? Why don't I see him?" The mysterious lady wanted to say something but hesitated, her face extremely gloomy. Seeing this, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's eyelids twitched, and she asked nervously, "Where exactly is teacher?" The mysterious lady sighed. "In order to help us escape, he stayed behind by himself and was taken away by the people from the main pagoda." "What?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's face turned ashen. "Don't worry, we followed them to take a look. They didn't kill your teacher, but imprisoned him in the main pagoda's prison. After we recover from our injuries, we will immediately think of a way to save him," the mysterious lady said in a deep voice. "Not dead?" The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young mistress was stunned. Then, she heaved a sigh of relief. As long as she did not die, there was still a chance. "Where are you now?" Madame Mystery asked. "Inland Sea," the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said. The mysterious madam was stunned. She frowned and said, "Why did you go to the inland sea? If we can't open the teleportation gate in the internal sea, how are we going to find you?" Qin Feiyang said, "If we hadn't entered the inland sea, we would have died long ago." "Damn it." The mysterious lady was incomparably furious. "Alas! Looks like we're in trouble. The main pagoda and the Mujia will definitely send people to guard the island. The Divine Island is the only entrance to the inner sea. If you want to come out now, I'm afraid it will be as difficult as ascending to the heavens." The middle-aged man sighed. "Only one entrance?" Qin Feiyang's expression changed, and he quickly said, "Didn't someone say that the end of the inland sea is connected to the endless sea?" "It's true that it's connected to the endless ocean, but there's also a divine power enchantment at the border between the internal sea and the endless ocean. You two won't be able to break the enchantment at all," the middle-aged man said. Qin Feiyang said, "Doesn't that mean that the inland sea is an invisible cage?" "Yes. As long as the Divine Island is sealed, you're like a turtle in a jar." The middle-aged man nodded. "How could this be?" Qin Feiyang muttered, his face as pale as paper. He thought that he could find a way out after entering the inland sea, but he never expected that it would be a dead end. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix house was also at a loss for a moment. "Don't panic. You guys find a place to hide first. We'll sneak into the Divine Island to investigate the situation, and then we'll think of a way," the mysterious lady said. "Okay." The miss of the Dragon Phoenix house nodded. "No matter what, you must save your lives," the mysterious lady reminded again, and the shadow dissipated. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix house put away the image crystal, turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Where are we going next?" Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. Suddenly, he thought of a place, looked up at the miss of the Dragon Phoenix house, and said, "I know a place. If we really reach a dead end, we can enter there." "What place?" the miss of the Dragon Phoenix house asked. "Devil's Island." Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. The Devil's Island was a dangerous place in the inland sea. Once he entered, he would most likely die. Therefore, unless he had no other choice, he would not easily step into the Devil's Island. Whoosh! Without further ado, the two of them immediately soared into the sky, turned into a ray of light, and rushed towards the depths of the inland sea. With the miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, an 8-star combat emperor, there was no need to worry about their safety on the way. Divine Island. A day and a night passed. The golden figure and the golden light screen were still there. Mu Qing and the others stood in front of the light screen, helpless. Swish! Suddenly, the void distorted, and 4 figures descended above the Divine Island. And Mu Qing and the others sensed the 4 auras and hurriedly raised their heads to look. A trace of joy immediately appeared on their faces. Because the newcomers were Yigleo, the white-robed old man, and the 2 false gods from the main pagoda. Although 4 against 3 gave them an absolute advantage and captured the black-robed old man, they were all injured to varying degrees. At the same time, the 4 of them appeared above the Divine Island. When they saw the golden figure, their pupils suddenly shrank. The main pagoda master asked, "Did you take them down?" The mysterious woman and the middle-aged man escaped. "However, we captured Yi Shu and locked him in prison. When we get the divine crystal back, we will interrogate him properly." The 2 false gods from the main pagoda said. "As long as we can capture one of them." The main pagoda master muttered, then cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your hard work." The 2 nodded. One of them pointed at the mermaid emperor and said in a deep voice, "What's the matter with him?" The main pagoda master said, "Don't worry, he's just a strand of the mermaid emperor's divine sense." Divine sense. The 4 false gods' bodies trembled. Yigleo said, "I didn't expect him to leave a strand of his divine sense here." Then, he's protecting Qin Feiyong now? Yes. Yesterday, we chased him here and were about to capture Qin Feiyong, but he suddenly appeared and stopped us. Now, we don't know where Qin Feiyong has escaped to. The main pagoda master nodded, his face full of worry. "Don't worry. The inner sea is a cage. Once they enter, they can forget about coming out." One of the old men smiled coldly, then turned to Yigleo and the other 2 and said, "Now, let's work together and see if we can destroy this strand of divine sense." The 3 of them nodded. The main pagoda master and the others immediately retreated. Boom! Yigleo and the other 3 faced the mermaid emperor. They raised their arms at the same time, and a shocking divine might rushed out of their bodies. All of a sudden, the power of 4 false gods appeared like 4 dragons, roaring toward the mermaid emperor. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, the 4 false gods' power blasted on the mermaid emperor's body almost at the same time. At this moment, the entire deity's island trembled as if it was about to collapse. Whether it was the outer sea or the inner sea, huge waves were set off. However, when the dust settled, the mermaid emperor formed by divine sense was still unscathed. "It's just a strand of divine sense, but it's so strong." Yigleo and the other 3 were stunned. In their hearts, they couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. The old man in white sighed. "It seems that it's impossible to break it by force. We can only wait for it to disappear." "Then let's wait," Yigleo said in a deep voice, then turned to the Mu clan's great ancestor and said, "I don't know when this will disappear. Let Qing stay here. You go back first." "Yes." The Mu clan's great ancestor replied respectfully, then opened the portal and left. "You guys go back too. Now that the central divine kingdom is in a mess, we must suppress it as soon as possible." The 2 false gods of the main pagoda also looked at the main pagoda master and Wang Modeo. The 2 nodded, opened the portal, and left. In this way, only the 4 false gods and Mu Qing were left. At the same time, at the edge of the deity's island, the mysterious lady and the middle-aged man stood on top of a mountain, restrained their aura, and looked at Mu Qing and the others from afar. A moment later, the mysterious lady retracted her gaze and said, "It seems that Qin Feiyong and Rushuang's lives won't be in danger for the time being." "Yes." The middle-aged man nodded and said, "Why don't we take the opportunity to enter the deity's city and rescue Yi Shu? Those 2 things are here, and the strongest person in the main pagoda is a 9-star combat emperor. It's indeed a good opportunity. But we can't get in. Because the cell where Yi Shu is imprisoned is not an ordinary cell. It can only be opened with a key. And there's only one key to open that cell, And it's with those two old things. The mysterious lady looked at the two false gods of the main pagoda, and her eyes flashed coldly. The middle-aged man raised his eyebrows and said helplessly, "Fine. Anyway, you're more familiar with the main pagoda than I am. We'll do whatever you say. Let's recuperate first. We'll wait for an opportunity to act when we're better," the mysterious lady said. "Okay." The middle-aged man nodded. Then, the two of them sat cross-legged on the ground and took out healing pills. They healed their injuries while monitoring the movements of Mu Qing and the others. Time was like sand between fingers. 5 days passed in a flash. Early in the morning. Buzz! The golden light curtain in front of Mu Qing and the others suddenly disappeared, and the golden figure turned into a golden light and rushed into the lake below like lightning. The 5 of them were meditating. When they sensed the movement, they opened their eyes one after another, and their faces were filled with ecstasy. 5 days. Including the day before, it had been 6 days. The golden light curtain finally dissipated. Yiglao and the others immediately got up and rushed toward the inland sea with Mu Qing. "Wait." Mu Qing suddenly stretched out his hand. "What's wrong?" The 4 of them stopped and turned to look at him suspiciously. Mu Qing said, "It's been 6 days, and the inland sea is bigger than I imagined. If we look for him like this, we won't be able to find him." Yiglao asked, "Do you have any good ideas? Although I can't find him right away, I can shorten the time." After Mu Qing finished speaking, a strange light appeared in her eyes. A vast ocean was faintly reflected in her pupils, and there were islands of various sizes on the surface of the ocean. Soon, the light in his eyes disappeared, and he sneered. "I know where he is." "Where?" Chapter 11:28. Mu Qing said, "It's in the northwest of the inland sea. It should take more than 2 months to get there from here." "So far?" Yiglao and the other 3 frowned. "I'm guessing based on my cultivation. If it were you guys, it wouldn't take so long," Mu Qing said. "So that's how it is. It'll take you 2 months to get there. If it were us, it would take at most 2 or 3 days," Yiglao said. "For us now, 2 or 3 days is too long. Let's just teleport there directly," Mu Qing said. "Teleport?" The 2 false gods were stunned. Wasn't it impossible to open a portal in the inland sea? Mu Qing looked at the 2 of them and waved his hand. An ancient stone gate appeared. Looking at the stone gate, Yiglao's eyes lit up and said, "Yes, we can use the gate of time and space." The gate of time and space. The 2 false gods stared at the stone gate with a fiery light in their eyes. Obviously, they also knew the magical use of the gate of time and space. Suddenly, one of them frowned and said, "No, this is not the real gate of time and space." Mu Qing didn't explain. He directly handed the gate of time and space to Yiglao and gave Yiglao a coordinate. Yiglao waved his hand and the power of the false gods surged. With a clang, the gate of time and space was instantly awakened. The old man in the white robe said, "Let's go. No matter what, we have to catch him today." "Wait. I know Qin Feiyang. He's very good at hide and seek. So, we must leave someone to guard the island. Also, the mysterious lady won't sit back and do nothing. Someone guarding this place can stop her from entering the inland sea and rescuing Qin Feiyang," Mu Qing said. As soon as these words came out, Yiglao, the old man in the white robe, and the 2 false gods of the main tower all fell silent. Mu Qing's eyes flashed slightly. He looked at the 2 old men and said, "I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, the Mu family really doesn't covet the divine crystals." The 2 of them frowned. One of them said, "How about this, to avoid unnecessary suspicion, each of us will leave 1 person to guard this place." "Sure." Mu Qing nodded. He turned to the white-robed old man and said, "Ancestor, the middle-aged man beside the mysterious madam is very strong. Only you can stop him, so I'll have to trouble you to stay and guard the place." "No problem." The white-robed old man nodded. The 2 people from the main pagoda looked at each other, and one of them said, "I'll stay." "You go." "Yes." The other person nodded. "Then let's go." Mu Qing waved his hand and took the lead to step into the gate of time and space. He looked like a leader. Yiglao and the person from the main pagoda also entered the gate of time and space. The next moment, Mu Qing and the other two arrived in the sky above a sea. This place was most likely over 10,000 kilometers away from the demonic island. To ordinary people, a distance of over 10,000 miles was an unreachable distance. But to false gods, it was just a matter of hours. Mu Qing glanced at the vast sea and looked at the person from the main pagoda. He said, "Senior, let's split up. You go to the northwest, and we'll go to the southwest. Once we find him, we'll send a signal immediately." "Okay." The old man nodded and turned to the northwest. Yiglao frowned and said, "Qing, didn't you just say that Qin Feiyang is in the northwest? Why did you let him go?" Mu Qing smiled and said, "Ancestor, I lied to them. In fact, Qin Feiyang is in the southwest." Yiglao was stunned. Then he shook his head and smiled. "I didn't expect you to have a trick up your sleeve. Not bad. We didn't misjudge you. You will definitely be the pillar of the Mu family in the future." Mu Qing rubbed his head and smiled. "Let's go. Don't waste time." "Okay." Old E nodded. Then, he brought Mu Qing along as they headed towards the southwest direction. At the same time, he used his divine perception to search the sea region. He didn't even let go of the deep sea. And the Devil's Island was in the southwest. At the same time, in the sky above a sea, a man and a woman stood side by side, scanning the island in front of them with solemn expressions. On the island, there were piles of bones. It was like hell. This man and woman were Qin Feiyang and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Back then, Wang Yue drove the Sage King's ship. Whether it was from the God's Island to the Devil's Island or from the Devil's Island to the God's Island, it took an entire month. But now, under the lead of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, Qin Feiyang only took 5 days to arrive at the Devil's Island. This speed could be said to be heaven and earth. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion sighed, "I didn't expect that there would be such a dangerous place hidden in the inner sea." "Have you never been to the inner sea?" Qin Feiyang asked. "No." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. She frowned and said, "Are we really going to enter this place?" Qin Feiyang said, "If we really reach a dead end, this place is undoubtedly the best place to escape. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have been with you." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was rather regretful. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "It's too late to regret now. You've already boarded my pirate ship." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion rolled her eyes at him. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. He turned to look at an island near the Devil's Island and said, "Let's go over there and rest." "Okay." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion nodded. The 6 days of being on the run had indeed exhausted her. However, just as the two of them turned around and were about to fly towards the island, the image crystal of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion rang. It should be a message from Mother. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was secretly delighted and immediately took out the image crystal. In the blink of an eye, a shadow appeared. Who else could it be but the mysterious lady? The mysterious lady looked at the two of them and asked, "Are you currently in the southwest of the inner sea?" "How do you know?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Looks like that kid from the Mu family didn't make a mistake." The mysterious lady's eyes darkened slightly. "Mu Qing?" Qin Feiyang said. "Yes. In the inner sea, his heavenly eye can't predict your exact location, but he can predict your approximate location. Now, they have already entered the inner sea. And they used the space-time gate to directly teleport in." The mysterious lady said. "What?" Qin Feiyang's expression changed and said, "Then the Mermaid Emperor's divine sense has disappeared." The mysterious lady nodded. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said, "Then hurry up and come in to save us." "No. The white-robed old man and the other fake god of the main tower are guarding the island. With the white-robed old man here, we can't enter at all." The mysterious lady said solemnly. "The white-robed old man is guarding?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "This should be Mu Qing's idea, right?" "Yes. He has already predicted that we will come to save you, so he specifically asked the white-robed old man to stay on the island. To be honest, I really have to look at that kid from the Mu family in a different light now. No matter what he does it flawlessly, almost as good as you." I really regret that I didn't kill him earlier. The mysterious lady sighed. Qin Feiyong sighed deeply and said helplessly, "It's too late to say anything now, we can only think of a way ourselves." "Then it's up to you. You must bring my daughter out alive," the mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyong nodded, but suddenly frowned and said, "Your daughter?" The mysterious lady was also stunned, looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, and asked, "Rushuang, haven't you told him yet?" "No." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head. Listening to the conversation between the two, Qin Feiyong was dumbstruck, unable to come back to his senses for a long time. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was actually the daughter of the mysterious lady? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion looked at Qin Feiyong and said unhappily, "What kind of expression is that? I am her daughter. Is it that unbelievable?" "It's not unbelievable, it's just that I can't accept it." Qin Feiyong muttered. Like mother like daughter. It seemed that he had to be careful of this woman in the future. Suddenly, the middle-aged man next to the mysterious lady asked, "Where are you guys now?" "Devil's Island," Qin Feiyong said. "What? You guys aren't planning to enter the Devil's Island, are you?" The middle-aged man's expression changed. "Do we have any other choice now?" Qin Feiyong laughed bitterly. The middle-aged man said, "You can't act recklessly, even I don't dare to rashly step into the Devil's Island. With your cultivation, once you enter, you will definitely die." "Will we definitely die?" "Not necessarily." Qin Feiyong turned his head to look at the Devil's Island and muttered to himself. After the conversation ended, Qin Feiyong looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and asked curiously, "If your mother is her, then who is your father?" "I say, do you know how dangerous our current situation is? You still have the mood to ask these questions?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was furious. Qin Feiyong said, "I was thinking, since you and your mother are so strong, then your father must be even stronger. If we go find him, then wouldn't we be saved?" "My father?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion raised her eyebrows and said expressionlessly, "He is already dead." "Dead?" Qin Feiyong was startled and laughed embarrassedly. "Sorry, I mentioned something that hurts you." "It's fine." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion shook her head. Qin Feiyong said again, "Then can you let me see your true appearance?" "You're not finished, are you?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately gnashed her teeth. Okay, I won't say any more." Qin Feiyong hurriedly waved his hand, then turned his head to look at the Devil's Island again. Were they really going to enter this place? But other than this, where else could help them escape this calamity? The greatest pain in the world was knowing that one was going to die, but one could only wait helplessly for death. Qin Feiyong was in such a mood right now. Torture, torment, and unceasing destruction of his spirit. He had thought of the concealment technique and the ancient castle, but none of them worked. As expected, one still needed to be strong. No matter how powerful external objects were, they could only solve the urgent situation for a while. Time passed breath by breath. After an unknown period of time, a terrifying divine sense suddenly enveloped them. "It's here." Qin Feiyong and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately had gloomy expressions. At the same time, in the sky above the distant sea, Yigleo's face revealed a trace of joy and said, "Qing, we found them." "Where is it?" Mu Qing's spirit was lifted. "Next to an island in front." "But I also know that island. It's called the Devil's Island, and it's not a good place," Yigleo said. "Devil's Island?" Mu Qing frowned and suddenly seemed to think of something, and said in surprise, "It can't be that Devil's Island that deprives one's vitality and lifespan, right?" "That's it." Yigleo nodded. Mu Qing smiled coldly and urged, "Hurry up and get there." Yigleo immediately sped up, streaking across the sky like lightning, setting off huge waves. Chapter 1129. Whoosh. Accompanied by two air-piercing sounds, Mu Qing and Yigleo landed in front of Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong said, "You guys came really fast." It seemed like a compliment, but it was actually a mockery. And at this moment, He and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house were standing at the edge of the Devil's Island. As long as they turned around and took a step, they would be able to enter the Devil's Island. Standing here was to prevent Yigleo from using his pressure to imprison them. And Mu Qing was not a fool, so he naturally understood the meaning behind Qin Feiyong's words. He snorted coldly. If it wasn't for the Mermaid Emperor's divine sense blocking the way, you would have already become a prisoner. What's there to be proud of? Qin Feiyong laughed. This means that I have good relations with people. No matter where I go, there are people to get along with me. You have good relations with people? Mu Qing's expression was extremely strange. Nah. Whether it was his Mu family or the main tower, they were all chasing after this person. There was no place for this person on the Forgotten Continent. And in the Great Qin Empire, he was also the enemy of the entire world. What kind of good relations was this? Was this a joke? Cut the crap. Now that you have nowhere to go, give me the divine crystal. I promise to give you a way out. Not only that, my Mu family will also do our best to protect you. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Think about it carefully. Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyong laughed. Good suggestion, but I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications to make me lower my head to you. Mu Qing said angrily. Do you have a choice now? Unless you want to enter the Devil's Island behind you. Sorry, I really do plan to do so. Qin Feiyong grabbed the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house and turned around to step into the Devil's Island. Immediately, a mysterious force enveloped them. This force was all-pervasive, drilling into their bodies. The two of them immediately felt that the qi and blood in their bodies began to flow crazily. Madman! What a madman! Ancestor, quickly see if you can take them out? Mu Qing hurriedly shouted. Yigleo's body shook, and a mighty divine aura surged out, pouncing towards Qin Feiyong and Huang Xiaolong. However, when the divine might reached the edge of the demonic island, it was repelled by an invisible force. No. Yigleo shook his head and transmitted. What should we do now? We still need him. If he dies here then... Qin Feiyong, we can discuss this slowly. Don't do anything stupid. Get out of here. Before Yigleo could finish, Mu Qing shouted anxiously. Qin Feiyong ignored him. He looked at the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young miss and said, This place is too dangerous. Go hide in the castle first. In just a short while, the eyes of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young miss turned turbid and weak. One could imagine that the face under the veil was definitely aging. What about you? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was worried. I'll think of a way. Qin Feiyong said in a low voice, and then sent the young miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion to the castle. Next, he tentatively took a step back and immediately felt an invisible force blocking his back. This was enough to show that the Devil Island could only be entered and not exited. Mu Qing stared fixedly at Qin Feiyong's back, and roared, Did you hear me? Come out. I can't get out. Qin Feiyong said without turning his head, looking at the center of the island, his eyes flickering. In the middle of the island, there was a dark red mountain peak that towered into the clouds like a magic sword. He could clearly feel that whether it was the mysterious power behind him or the power that was robbing his body of blood and vitality, they all originated from that huge mountain. It seems that if I want to break through this calamity of death, I can only go to the top of that giant mountain to take a look. Qin Feiyong muttered, then decisively took a step forward and rushed towards the giant mountain. Bastard! Seeing this, Mu Qing was furious, but there was nothing he could do. He could only watch as Qin Feiyong walked towards death step by step. On the island, the blood and vitality in Qin Feiyong's body was flowing out too quickly. In less than 10 breaths, he felt like he was about to collapse. Shwa! He glanced at the giant mountain in the middle of the island and quickly entered the castle. At this moment, he already looked like a doddering old man. Boss, are you all right? Seeing Qin Feiyong's expression, Fatso and the others were shocked, and immediately stood up to surround Qin Feiyong. I'm fine. Qin Feiyong waved his hand. The fused fire of life was quickly replenishing the blood and vitality that he had lost earlier. Wolf King said, Tell us, what exactly is the situation on the Devil Island? Qin Feiyong said, The situation on the Devil Island is exactly the same as what Wang Zicheng said. Everyone lowered their heads and pondered. There was strength in numbers. Let's think of a way together. Looking at everyone, Viper sighed. Don't think about it. Dan Wong-kai and I know the Devil Island better than any of you. Once you enter, you will never be able to leave alive. Dan Wong-kai nodded with a look of despair. Fatso said, there is nothing absolute in this world. There must be a way, it's just that we don't know. Suddenly, Lu Hong raised her head and looked at Fatso and the others, saying, did you guys notice that the situation on this Devil Island is exactly the same as the Black Dragon Glacier? Black Dragon Glacier. Qin Feiyong's eyes lit up. When he heard Wang Zicheng talk about the Devil Island last time, he thought of the Black Dragon Glacier. He didn't expect that Lu Hong would also think of the same thing. After a moment of silence, Qin Feiyong said with a smile, I think I know how to resist the mysterious power on the Devil Island. Viper and Dan Wong-kai looked at him in surprise. Last time, we were able to walk out of the Black Dragon Glacier. I believe we can do it this time too. Qin Feiyong smiled confidently. After recovering a lot of his vitality and blood, he appeared on the Devil Island again. That mysterious power once again enveloped him. Qin Feiyong's mind moved, and a black light flashed out from between his eyebrows. It was the ancient castle. Please. Qin Feiyong looked at the ancient castle and said with an extremely sincere tone. Last time at the Black Dragon Glacier, it was the ancient castle that helped everyone block the power of the Demon Dragon's heart and Demon Dragon's eye. Bas. The ancient castle was silent for a moment, then suddenly flew above Qin Feiyong's head and shone down strands of divine light, enveloping Qin Feiyong inside. At that moment, Qin Feiyong felt that the mysterious power that was robbing his vitality and blood had disappeared. Swish! At this time, a blood-red figure appeared beside Qin Feiyong. It was the inner demons. He looked up at the ancient castle and laughed. I thought that I would have to stomp on it a few times like last time before it would be obedient. Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. The last time the inner demons stepped on the ancient castle at the Black Dragon Glacier, it was still fresh in his memory. The inner demons turned around and looked at Mu Qing and Yiglao in the sky above the sea. The expressions on their faces were extremely interesting. They thought that Qin Feiyong would definitely die if he entered the Devil Island, but they didn't expect the ancient castle to be able to block that power. The inner demons raised the corner of his mouth and looked at Yiglao provocatively, saying, Old man, your ancestor and ancestor are both standing here, if you have the ability to come and kill us? Ancestor? Ancestor. Yiglao was suspicious. You can't even understand this, aren't you too stupid? Look, I used to be called Ancestor Mu, so doesn't that mean I'm the ancestor of your Mu family? And I'm called Ancestor Mu, so I'm naturally the ancestor of your Mu family. The inner demons joked. Yiglao's face darkened, his hands clenched tightly, and his eyes were extremely scary. Teske, how dare you treat your ancestor and ancestor like this? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? Sigh, forget it. We don't want unfilial descendants like you. The inner demons shook his head with a look of disappointment. Yiglao roared, Little beast, come out if you have the ability, see if this old man doesn't destroy you. The inner demons looked at him triumphantly and said lightly, Come in if you have the ability, see if this young master doesn't destroy you. Bastard! Is this how the descendants of your Qin family are raised? Elder Yi was so angry that his hair stood on end. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and turned to look at Yiglao, and said in a deep voice, You don't need to worry about our upbringing, you should worry more about the descendants of the Mu family. Ha! Mu Qing was stunned and said angrily, Did I provoke you? Are you talking about me? Did I talk about you? Qin Feiyong said. Mu Qing said, Nonsense, I'm a descendant of the Mu family, of course, you're talking about me too. Qin Feiyong suddenly said, Is that so? Then I'll admit it, I'm talking about you. What can you do? Mu Qing gritted his teeth, blue veins popped out, he was extremely angry. If it was any other time in the face of such provocation, he would have already done it, but now, he could only endure. This kind of sullen feeling was driving him crazy. Qin Feiyong and the inner demons were very happy. A dignified fake god couldn't do anything to them. What could be more satisfying than this? I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Get out of here, you don't dare to come in anyway. Qin Feiyong looked at the two disdainfully, then turned to look at the inner demons and said, I have to go to the top of the mountain to take a look. You go back to the inner world. I don't want to go back now. Because I'm also very interested in that giant mountain. The inner demons looked back at the top of the mountain, his eyes flashing. Qin Feiyong nodded. Okay, let's go together, but you can't stay outside for too long, your consciousness will dissipate. Whether it was him or the inner demons, as long as their consciousness left their bodies, they could only live in the inner world. Of course. It's not that they can't leave the inner world, but there's a time limit. After the time limit, their consciousness will dissipate. That's not right. Shouldn't you be eager for me to disappear? Why are you concerned about me now? The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyong, puzzled. Qin Feiyong shook his head and laughed. Indeed, in the past, he couldn't wait for the inner demons to get out of here as soon as possible. But now, he had a strange feeling for the inner demons in his heart. This feeling was like his twin brother, which made it difficult for him to part with him. The inner demon suddenly poked Qin Feiyong's back and laughed. Look at your expression, are you a little reluctant to part with me? Don't be mushy. I just think you have some value to me. Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. Don't forget, I'm your inner demons. I know what you're thinking. The inner demon smiled proudly and then said, Okay, let's not talk nonsense, let's go. Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at him. Whoosh. At that moment. Chapter 1130. Sigh. Although I don't want to admit it, this child is indeed an amazing person. Yiglao suddenly loosened his clenched fists and let out a long sigh. Mu Qing said unhappily, Patriarch, can you not boost his morale and diminish our own? I'm not boosting his morale. Look at that inner demons. If it were anyone else, they would have been replaced by the inner demons long ago. But he has a way to get along with the inner demons peacefully. Yiglao said. Mu Qing was silent. But it's precisely because of this that we have to kill him. The mysterious ancient castle, the powerful six-word divine art, and that indestructible dagger. If this child is not eliminated, he will definitely become the biggest stumbling block for our Mu family in the future. Yiglao paused after every word, his eyes filled with killing intent. Mu Qing clenched his fists tightly. Although Yiglao's killing intent was aroused, he also expressed his appreciation and recognition of Qin Feiyong. He would not allow such a thing to happen. Because in this world, it was enough to have one monster like him. He would not allow a second one to appear. Let's talk about Qin Feiyong and the inner demons. Not long after, they stepped on the white bones and arrived at the foot of the giant mountain. The giant mountain towered into the clouds, its entire body glowing with a dark red light and emitting a shocking smell of blood. The inner demons reached out and touched the rock wall, exclaiming, This is actually dyed red with blood. Qin Feiyong's pupils shrank, and he said in a deep voice, I think that the blood of those creatures who accidentally trespassed on the demonic island should have been absorbed by this giant mountain after they died. The inner demon said, Do you mean that this giant mountain is a life form? I don't know. Qin Feiyong shook his head and suddenly raised his arm. Battle chi surged, and he punched the rock wall with all his strength. Boom! There was a loud explosion. But the giant mountain didn't even budge. There wasn't even a single crack on the rock wall that he had struck. Qin Feiyong was dumbfounded. One had to know. Now that he was a 4-star battle saint, it was no exaggeration to say that this punch was enough to destroy mountains and rivers. However, at this moment, it was actually unable to do anything to a giant mountain. Something was off. Qin Feiyong and the inner demons looked at each other and jumped up at the same time toward the peak of the mountain. Along the way, they carefully observed the cliff, but they didn't find anything. A dozen breaths later, the two of them finally reached the peak of the mountain. They stood at the edge of the cliff and looked ahead. The peak of the mountain was the same as the other places. It was completely devoid of life, like a land of death. Moreover, other than pieces of large and small protruding rocks, there was nothing else to be seen. Filled with suspicion, the two of them carefully searched the mountain peak. When they reached the center of the mountain peak, they were surprised to find that there was a tunnel entrance on the ground. The entrance was not big, only enough for 2 or 3 people to walk side by side. The two of them walked to the entrance and looked inside, only to see that it was pitch black inside, like a bottomless pit. Should we go down and take a look? The inner demons asked. Nonsense, of course we should. Qin Feiyong said. Then let's go. The two of them were like newborn calves who weren't afraid of tigers. They directly jumped into the entrance and walked down the tunnel side by side. The tunnel was spiral-shaped and poured downwards. They didn't know where the end was. After walking for about 100 breaths, a rock cave suddenly came into their sight. The two of them were invigorated and quickly walked to the front of the rock cave. Immediately, they saw a cloud of black fog inside the rock cave. The rock cave was about 100 feet long. The black fog floated in the middle of the rock cave. It was as big as a dustpan. The fog lingered, giving the two of them a great sense of danger. The two of them looked at each other and swallowed their saliva. They stepped on the void and walked toward the black fog. They could clearly feel that the closer they got, the stronger the mysterious power that was isolated outside the ancient castle. Finally, the two of them walked to the front of the black fog. They felt that the black fog in front of them seemed to be sealing a terrifying demon. They couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. The same mysterious power, the same fog. Why do I feel that this place is somehow related to the Black Dragon Glacier? The inner demons transmitted. Connected. Qin Feiyong was stunned and said in surprise, "You mean there might be a strange heart and eye in this black fog?" The inner demons nodded. Qin Feiyong frowned and suddenly gritted his teeth. "Let's go and have a look." The two of them took a deep breath and stepped into the black fog. Immediately, the two of them stared at each other, full of surprise. In the black fog, there was no heart and eye as they thought. There was a piece of iron, about the size of a palm and as thin as a cicada's wing. It was completely black. And whether it was the black fog here or the mysterious power, they were all emitted by this piece of iron. And this piece of iron gave the two of them a great sense of danger. They even suspected that if the ancient castle suddenly left now, they would probably become a pile of bones in an instant. This can't be some kind of divine iron, right? The inner demons carefully observed for a while and suddenly said in surprise, "Divine iron." Qin Feiyong's eyes suddenly lit up. Divine iron was a legendary divine object, a necessary material for creating divine artifacts. But then, he frowned and shook his head. If it's divine iron, it shouldn't emit such a demonic power. But before he finished speaking, Qin Feiyong's eyes focused. Looking at the surface of the iron, he found that there were actually small dragon patterns on the surface of the iron. Immediately, his eyes lit up and said, "This is not a piece of iron at all. It's a dragon's reverse scale." Reverse scale. The inner demons' pupils shrank and said in surprise, "What kind of dragon's reverse scale can release such a terrifying power?" Qin Feiyong was also pondering this question. Suddenly, the two of them trembled slightly at the same time. Then they looked at each other at the same time, their eyes full of horror. The inner demon said, "It seems that this place really has something to do with the demon dragon's heart and demon dragon's eye in the Black Dragon Glacier." Qin Feiyong guessed, maybe this reverse scale came from the same dragon as the demon dragon's heart and demon dragon's eye. The demon dragon mentioned by the Mu family? The inner demons asked. Qin Feiyong nodded. If that's the case, then this reverse scale is a treasure. Quickly find something to put it away, lest it be lost by the ancient castle again. The inner demons urged. No. Have you forgotten what happened last time in the Black Dragon Glacier? When the demon dragon's heart and demon dragon's eye disappeared, the mysterious power also disappeared. And now we can stand here and talk because of this mysterious power. If this mysterious power disappeared, then facing Yigleo's anger, I'm afraid we won't even have the chance to beg for mercy. Qin Feiyong said. That's true. The inner demons nodded. However, before his voice fell, the ancient castle suddenly dropped a ray of light, rolled up the reverse scale and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Qin Feiyong and the inner demons were stunned. After regaining their senses, the two immediately looked up and stared at the ancient castle angrily. As soon as they finished speaking, the reverse scale disappeared. This bastard castle did it on purpose, right? Damn it, what good will it do you if we die? The inner demons angrily cursed. Not to mention the inner demons, even Qin Feiyong, who has a good temper, couldn't help but want to break out and curse. However, the ancient castle didn't pay attention to them at all. It turned into a stream of light and disappeared into Qin Feiyong's forehead. Damn it! The mysterious power really disappeared. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled, and he quickly turned around, rushed out of the tunnel, ran to the cliff of the giant peak, hid behind a protruding rock, and looked toward the sea. It was very far away, but he could vaguely see that Mu Qing and Yigleo were still standing in the sky above the sea, without the slightest intention of leaving. The inner demons ran up and urged, "What are you looking at? Go to the ancient castle, or it will be too late." "Wait." Qin Feiyong stretched out his hand, observed Mu Qing and the inner demons for a moment, and said, "They don't seem to have noticed that the mysterious power has disappeared." The inner demons was stunned and also turned his head to look, only to find that Mu Qing and the inner demons had indeed not entered the Devil's Island. The inner demon's eyes flashed, and he chuckled. "Then this is a good opportunity to escape. Yes. Let's leave quietly from the other side of the Devil's Island. Let them think that we are still on the island." Qin Feiyong also smiled, and without any delay, he immediately ran to the other side of the giant peak, and then jumped down. The inner demons also entered the inner world. When they landed on the ground below the giant peak, Qin Feiyong waved his hand, and the mist of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion appeared out of thin air. It really disappeared. She looked at the void in surprise. The mysterious power is invisible and colorless. Mu Qing and Yigleo should not be able to discover it for a while. Let's go quickly. Qin Feiyong urged. Okay. The mist of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion hurriedly nodded, and then swept up Qin Feiyong, turned into a stream of light, and quickly left the Devil's Island, and then rushed deeper into the inner sea without looking back. About half an hour passed. Whoosh! Accompanied by the sound of the air being torn apart, an old man in white clothes cut through the sky and landed in front of Mu Qing and the inner demons. It was the false god from the main tower. "So you guys are here, how is it? Have you found Qin Feiyong?" the old man in white clothes asked. Yigleo raised his eyebrows imperceptibly, looked at the Devil's Island, and said, "Found him on the island." The old man in white clothes was overjoyed, and when he turned to look at the Devil's Island, his expression changed, and he said in surprise, "It can't be, he went to this island?" Yigleo nodded. "This is the Devil's Island. Isn't he afraid of death?" The old man in white clothes was surprised. "Of course he is afraid of death, but unfortunately, he is not dead," Yigleo said in a low voice. At the same time, in the deepest part of the inner sea, two figures swept across the sky above an island, stirring up huge waves. It was Qin Feiyong and the inner demons. More than an hour had passed, and they had already gone far, and the sea beasts they encountered now were almost all the arch beasts. "We finally got rid of them." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house looked at the sea behind her, and seeing that Mu Qing and Yigleo did not chase after them, she heaved a long sigh of relief. "It's still too early to be happy. As long as we don't leave the inner sea, the danger will always be there. It can only be said that it's safe for now," Qin Feiyong said. Whether it was the real space-time gate or the fake one, it could only be opened once a day. As for the real space-time gate, Mu Qing and Yigleo would definitely not carry it with them. Therefore, he concluded that the space-time gate opened on the island must be the fake one in Mu Qing's hands. With only one space-time gate, even if Mu Qing discovered that they had left, even if Mu Qing could predict their general direction, it would still take some time to catch up with them. However, don't forget that Yigleo was a false god, and his speed was not something they could compare to. That was why Qin Feiyong said that it was safe for now. Why don't we take the opportunity to go back now? Although there are two false gods on the island, my mother and the others are also there. With them holding back the two false gods, it shouldn't be a problem for us to escape. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.